And the color guard presenting the colors, the music, the majesty, the patriotism of America's favorite pastime as we salute America. Not quite a full house here as we get ready to start this game, but the excitement, the enthusiasm of these people certainly fills this afternoon on this cold, cold day in April.
There will also be a moment of silence today, remembering all those who have been lost in this war. And I think in general, the feeling that we all have in New York, going back to 9/11 and remembering what our city, what our country has been through. And that is a large part, I think, of the thoughts that people have on this day. Celebrating a national pastime, as we've said, a great American game, a great American sport, but also understanding the times today, where we are, what's going on, remembering all of those people at this moment.
This is not a typical home opener. The weather playing a big part here, including in how the team is being introduced. Let's go down to the field and Gary Apple and Warner Wolf. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much, Gary. I'm just looking into the Yankee dugout. Boy, you talk about a combination. There's Whitey Ford and Yogi Berra.
Yes.
First ball.
So special. He's got to think about nobody has those sort of legendary luminary figures that hang around him.
We apologize for that audio problem as we wait for the presentation of the colors, and there will be a moment of silence, the national anthem. What I was getting to, Ernie, before was usually the players are announced. They come out on each side, but although some of them are out there practicing, we've been told, I guess some don't want to be out in the cold more than necessary. So there's been a reading of the names, but not necessarily the traditional introduction of the players.
Okay, we're going to have more pre-game festivities, and I think we're going to go right now to Michael Kay. Exactly, Michael Kay and Jim Cox. And let's go to you, gentlemen, at this moment.
Watching those films, here in the homeland, he had a definite slide. In support of Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation
Shield, and Operation Atlas. These brave men and women represent the very best of the American spirit. Now please direct your attention to center field. In honor of the men and women serving our great country, a giant American flag will be unfurled by 40 cadets from the United States Military Academy at West Point during the singing of our national anthem. So let's have a warm round of applause for the United States Military Academy at West Point, which has been producing the leaders who have defended our freedom and way of life for over 200 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the area behind second base for the presentation of colors, and welcome the United States Military Academy at West Point Cadet Color Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, today at the conclusion of our national anthem, please be sure to direct your attention to the area underneath the matrix board in center field, where an American bald eagle named Challenger, America's and the Yankees' living symbol of freedom, will soar into Yankee Stadium and land in front of the pitcher's mound. Challenger is a non-releasable bald eagle cared for by the American Eagle Foundation, headquartered in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and is named in honor of the Space Shuttle crew. Now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise? And let's spend a moment in silent prayer as we remember those soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, Coast Guardsmen whose lives have been lost defending the American way of life. Thank you.
Thank you.
When Yankee Stadium opened its gates for the first time on April 18th, 1923, the United States Army's 7th Regiment Band played the national anthem. This 80-year relationship between the Yankees and the Army's talented musical performers continues today. Please direct your attention to the microphones behind home plate and welcome the United States Military Academy at West Point Glee Club under the direction of Constance Chase. They will now sing our national anthem.
Always a special moment here at Yankee Stadium. Challenger coming in from the center field bleachers, landing on the pitcher's mound. It is a cold, crisp day here at Yankee Stadium, but you can see the fans are into it. A very big crowd on hand, and we will have baseball. Yankees against the Twins, the Yankee home opener on the 100th anniversary of the New York Yankees. All of that coming up right after these words on CBS 2. Took root in the Bronx and built an elegant legacy known worldwide. The greatest names and faces in the history of the sport are endless frames in our mind's highlight reel. Excellence morphing from generation to generation. A relay race with one immortal passing the baton to the next. Greatness searing itself into forever. A century in black and white or color, the memories are perfect. Whether in grainy film or videotape, some in pictures, some in sound, as familiar as our mom's voice.
Here's the windup. Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Holy cow!
It hasn't all been flawless, but the anger and the sadness show it isn't fictional fantasy, bringing grim reality to the soundtrack.
Jay, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Nothing lasts forever, except what we choose to remember, becoming snapshots in the mind's scrapbook. And new memories are being made today on that same Bronx stage. Yesterday's youth sharing the same goosebumps with kids today. The past morphs into the present as the Field of Dreams chillingly keeps the lineage alive, as men playing a boys' game are charmingly allowed to stay young. So as the Yankees embark on their second century, we remember the past, admire the here and now of our national pastime, and we look forward to more fun and games. It is 36 degrees with a wind chill. It feels like 29. The home opener at Yankee Stadium. Yes, it is Yankee Stadium. It's not Lambeau Field. It certainly looks like it, though. It snowed yesterday about 5 inches, and the grounds crew did an unbelievable job getting this field ready, getting the stadium ready for baseball today so that we can have this home opener brought to you by CBS 2. It's the Minnesota Twins against the New York Yankees in the first game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball. Along with Jim Cott and Bobby Mercer, I'm Michael Kay. It is the home opener. It's the 100th anniversary of this Yankees season. The Yankees have started out the year in proper fashion, 5-1 on the road trip. They took all 3 in Toronto and 2 of 3 to Tampa Bay. And opening day is always special. Doesn't matter if it comes a week after the season begins. We'll start off with you, Bobby. Yankee Stadium opening day just has a different feel to it than anywhere else.
No doubt about it. And I remember my first opening day here, this beautiful stadium, and it's all of its glory with all the past history and the legacies. When I first walked out on this field, I remembered Babe Ruth, and I remembered Lou Gehrig, I remembered Joe DiMaggio, I remembered all the great things that happened with this wonderful franchise.
Now, Kitty, all the opening days that you took part of, you took part of some here at Yankee Stadium as well, just has a different feel.
It really does, and of course, opening day for the baseball fan means the start of spring. You wouldn't know that today because of the weather, but there's always a special feeling, I think, when you come in here to Yankee Stadium. And of course, we come a week away from the opener at Toronto when it was more like being in Studio 54 with the NBA atmosphere. So this is really baseball right here. Despite the temperature, the 36 degrees, cloudy and windy, the players and the fans will forget about that because this signifies the opening of the baseball season.
Now, as we mentioned, it feels like it's 29, and that begs the question, Bobby, how is this going to affect the players? You could try to put it out of your mind, but it's out there. It's cold.
It could be a problem, and probably will be a problem. I mean, you play baseball with the feel of your hands. I mean, the fingertips, the pitchers have to have the feel of the grip of the baseball and the seams of the baseball. The hitter, he doesn't like to take a cold bat up there, and he certainly doesn't like to have cold hands. I mean, if you hit one on the end of the bat, you're going to feel bees for the rest of the 9 innings with your hand. I mean, they fly in there in a hurry.
Well, the Yankee hitters certainly had no problems on the road. That's why they wanted to open in 2 dome stadiums. That usually does benefit the hitters. And in the first 2 series, one in Toronto and one in Tampa Bay, the hottest Yankee, one of the hottest Yankees, had to be Alfonso Soriano. He is following up last year with an unbelievable start.
He really is, Michael. He's had a multi-hit game in every game so far. And even without his partner, Derek Jeter, at the top of the lineup, Alfonso Soriano is getting the job done. Picks on a hanging curveball from Roy Halladay. That was the opener in Toronto, his first home run. It continued on into Tampa Bay. The Yankees won 2 out of 3 there, and it was Soriano that started most of the action. He is off to a terrific start after the great year that he had last year. This one might be even better.
6 games so far, 452, made him the American League Player of the Week for the first week of the season. 14 hits, 3 homers, 10 runs batted in, 7 extra base hits, and as Jim mentioned, 6 multi-hit games. Now, Bernie Williams is not taking a back seat to Alfonso Soriano. He has been absolutely torrid since the start of the season. And Bobby, that's a little bit different than Bernie's usual start to his career.
Well, you know, Michael, Bernie Williams is a notorious slow starter. This is his 11th opening day as a New York Yankee of the Pinstripers. And it is the fastest start that Bernie Williams has ever had with the Yankees. With that kind of swing right there, you know that those shoulders are really feeling good for Bernie. He had a problem with them last year. 3-time Gold Glove winner in center field. He makes a heck of a catch there. That always makes pitchers happy.
And you look at the numbers in his career, 275 in April, 444 so far this season. 2 home runs he averages. He already has that now. It's April 8th. 10 runs, and this season he has scored 9. He has been absolutely on fire. Well, right now it's time to take a look at the Hyundai keys to the game, brought to you by Hyundai, where driving is believing. And why don't you tell us the keys, Jim?
Well, Michael, Bobby referred to the fact that hitters don't like to go up there with a bat in their hand in cold weather. So the key to me is get a grip. Both the pitchers gripping the baseball and the players with their footing out on the field. The pitchers, if they can grip the ball comfortably, definitely have an edge. People hate the hitters, hate to hit in this kind of weather. And playing in cold weather is a state of mind. Who is going to be mentally tough probably will come out ahead in this ball game.
Now, I guess the big question has to be, if you're a hitter in this situation and you're a pitcher in this situation, do you pitch differently, Jim, because it's cold out? Do you come in on the hands more than you normally would, or you stay with your normal game plan?
Well, you know, I said on a day like today, I'd like to be Nolan Ryan because it's tougher throwing a curveball, and if you've got any kind of a fastball, Bobby can tell you, it is not fun getting that fastball either on your hands or on the end of the bat.
Now, I guess the question has to go to Bobby here. If you're a hitter, are you laying off those pitches right on the hand simply because you don't want to feel those bees because it's so painful?
You know, I don't think so, Michael, but you're certainly aware that the inside pitch is there, and they may be trying to crowd you inside because it's cold. You know, one interesting thing, I talked to Jorge Posada before today's ball game, and that's what I asked him. From a hitter standpoint, I wanted to go to the catcher and ask Jorge, now, are you and Andy Pettitte going to pitch a little bit differently today because it's cold and you know that the hitters don't want to really hit in cold weather like this? He said, to tell you the truth, we're going to pitch the same game that we always pitch, whether it's 50 degrees, 70 degrees, or 29 degrees like it is here today. So that was interesting to me. I thought that they would try to bust it in a little bit more today.
Now, one of the big things that we're going to take a look at, and it's really one of the big sidelights in this game. Yes, the home opener is important, but it's Hideki Matsui's first game in Yankee Stadium. He had a very good road trip. He hit safely in all 6 games, so he got that out of the way. Still looking for his first home run, and when his name was announced by Bob Shepard when they were introducing the lineups, he got a very, very big ovation. That's going to be something to watch, Jim.
Well, I think it really will, and I think he's going to handle it just fine. I mean, I saw him before the game today, and even though it's the home opener in Yankee Stadium, his debut here, he is very, very calm. I mean, he is cool as the other side of the pillow, and you can see him right there with Lee Mazzilli. Yankee Stadium left field, as Bobby can tell you, is a lot different to play. All in the corners, and Lee Mazzilli is giving him a little lesson, both in right field and in left field, of how the ball might come out of the corner and things he has to look forward to. They've developed quite a bond, those two.
And he has really, as we said, done a very, very good job for the Yankees. He's got to have some butterflies right now. Even if you're a veteran and you've played in Yankee Stadium over and over again, when it's finally opening day, Hideki Matsui has to feel nervous. 3-time MVP in Japan, but this is different.
I think he felt nervous from the very first day that he joined the Yankees and they started up in Toronto. I mean, this is, even though a 3-time most valuable player and a guy that really knows how to play the game fundamentally, putting on the pinstripes for the first time, knowing the legacy and the history of Yankee Stadium, and coming here and actually being a part of it as a New York Yankee, that's what the most exciting thing of it is.
Well, and as you saw in the quote, he mentioned a very special feeling. I had a chance to see in the last few days the special Godzilla, you know, Matsui, Godzilla's tail. And when you saw what kind of a celebrity he was in Japan, I mean, hard to believe he was bigger in Japan than Michael Jordan has been in this country. So I think he'll be able to handle that just fine.
It's unbelievable the amount of Japanese media that surrounds him at all times. He was actually photographed, maybe thousands of pictures, Sunday's game, before Sunday's game against Devil Ray. Before the game, he's just stretching. And every single move he makes is chronicled back to Japan. And the thing that's impressed most people in the Yankee organization, Bobby, is the class that he's handled this. He doesn't seem to be annoyed with it at all. Almost seems like he's grown up with it, and I guess he has.
Well, he certainly has, and he's got a lot of training in Japan because that was what they were doing over in Japan, and being the 3-time most valuable player and hitting the 50 home runs that he hit last year, it wasn't going to be any different here in America. I mean, all the contingency, all the press was going to be coming over from Japan, and they were going to be more so probably here in America filming more than every move that he could ever make. I mean, but he's handled it well. He took the riders out in spring training. He took them all out to dinner just to introduce himself, to get to feeling comfortable with them, and they really like him here.
Yes, they do. Right there, 2 Yankees that actually speak Japanese. Hideki Matsui, of course, and Alfonso Soriano played a couple of years in Japan, is fluent in 3 languages, so he can obviously communicate with Hideki Matsui very, very well.
I got to ask Bobby. Bobby, when you started on opening day, were the photographers ever in the press room taking a picture of your name in the lineup card? That's what they were doing with Matsui today. That's how interested they are in every move he makes.
You know what, Kitty? They weren't in there doing it to me, but they were doing it to Mantle and to Roger Maris.
Well, Joe Torre just gave the lineup card. So did Ron Gardenhire, the Twins manager. Now the Yankees take the field in their home opener in the 100th anniversary season. This is also the first opening day here at Yankee Stadium for Raul Mondesi. He joined the team midway through last season, and he is certainly dressed for the weather. Again, 36 degrees, but it feels like 29 with the wind chill factor. The crowd here at the stadium bundled up, everybody with overcoats. It's going to be a hearty bunch of fans that sit through this game. It is chilly. Yesterday's game, of course, was snowed out, 5 inches of snow, and credit where credit is due, department. The Yankee grounds crew was unbelievable. They made this feel like it's the middle of July. They have walked the field already, everybody involved with both teams, and they say the field is in absolutely great shape. It is right now time for our ceremonial first pitch, and we'll throw the microphone to the voice of Yankee Stadium, Bob Shepard.
Of Baseball Hall of Fame were battery mates during the 1950s and the 1960s. Both have played a very significant role in the illustrious 100-year history of the New York Yankees. Our first honoree holds the Yankees franchise record for pitching wins and strikeouts. He won both the Cy Young Award and the World Series MVP Award in 1961. Ladies and gentlemen, now pitching for the Yankees, number 16, Whitey Ford. Number 16. Our second honoree won 3 MVP awards and was selected to play in 15 consecutive All-Star games. He played on 14 pennant-winning teams and 10 World Championship teams, more than anyone in history. Ladies and gentlemen, number 8, Yogi Berra, catcher, number 8. Thank you, Whitey. Thank you, Yogi.
That's one of the great things about Yankee Stadium and the Yankees. Very few teams could bring out Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford to throw out the first pitch on opening day. Phil Rizzuto was also supposed to throw out the first pitch today, feeling a little bit under the weather. So we send out our best wishes to Phil, who we know is watching at home. But it's magical when those two guys throw out the first pitch.
And very appropriate that Whitey Ford came out to throw out the first pitch, because the history of the Minnesota Twins, their very first game was on opening day here in 1961 at Yankee Stadium. In that particular game, they were successful against Whitey. Pedro Ramos and the Twins shut them out 6-0.
Well, it's time for today's Twin starting lineup, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Get the feeling. Toyota. Jock Jones, the left fielder, will lead off. Christian Guzman, the shortstop, bats second. The third baseman is Corey Koski. He'll bat third. The cleanup hitter, center fielder, Torrey Hunter. He's had a rough start to the season, 3 for 21 with just 3 runs batted in. Matthew Lecroy, the DH, will bat fifth. Batting sixth and playing first base, Doug Mankiewicz. Michael Kadire, the right fielder, will bat seventh. Batting eighth and catching, A.J. Brzezinski. And Luis Rivas, the second baseman, will bat ninth.
And that lineup will face Andy Pettitte. First start, 7 innings, picked up a win, only 6 hits, no home runs. Typical control by Andy, only 1 walk and 7 strikeouts. Let's check out the scouting report on the big lefty. A limited edition cutter. There are very few that have as good a cutter as Andy, and he's also limiting how many times he throws it. He's not overusing it like he had a tendency to do in the past. He's weather toughened. He pitched in snow flurries, the home opener in 1996, and April has been his hottest month. Of all the months Andy Pettitte pitches, his ERA in April is the best, 3.34.
Well, Andy will have some backing with Matsui, who has really shored up the left field for the Yankees. He's their 11th left fielder in the last 11 years. Bernie Williams will have 3 gold gloves in center. Mondesi, what a year he is having. Johnson at first base. Soriano, Almonte, Ventura, and then Posada behind home plate.
Well, we are ready for baseball. The Yankees opened the season on the road, 3 straight in Toronto, and then they took 2 of 3 in Tampa Bay. So a proper start to their season at 5-1, and now the home campaign opens as Jock Jones digs in. Andy Pettitte is ready, and here we go at Yankee Stadium with the first pitch. It's a little bit high. And the 1-0. There's a strike. The official first pitch temperature is 36 degrees. It feels a lot colder. The wind chill says it's about 29 on the field. And the teams are bundled up. Swing and a miss.
The players today, excuse me, Kenny, the players, especially the hitters, and I'm sure that the pitchers do the same thing. We'll take another look at this good breaking ball as Jones swings over the top of it. They have those hand warmers in their back pockets.
Well, that didn't help Jock Jones as he goes out on strike. So Andy Pettitte starts the game with a strikeout, 1 away.
Boy, that is very impressive to have this kind of a breaking ball in weather that is so difficult to grip the baseball. And I guess, as Jorge Posada told you, they're going to go with their same pattern. He threw 3 great breaking balls. Now check out Andy Pettitte's eyes. He's almost squinting and glaring. If he's doing that, you can imagine what the hitter's going through.
Here's Christian Guzman, and that's outside.
That's another good point too, Kitty, because in cold weather, your eyes, they tear up a little bit more, a little bit easier. Talked to Posada about throwing inside. He said, well, we will probably go with more breaking pitches, because if the guy hits the ball on the end of the bat, he's going to get more of a sting out of it than if we jam him.
I'll tell you, it's unbelievable to me that the 4 breaking pitches he's thrown already have been like he's pitching on the 4th of July.
Guzman 3 for 21 lifetime against Pettitte, and of that streak, 10 strikeouts. Any concern about Andy Pettitte's elbow, which he was on the DL with last year in this kind of weather?
The only concern would be between innings, not while you're pitching, but between innings. You have to be very careful to stay where it's warm. Keep your hand in between a couple hot water bottles.
That one is lined into center field, coming on Bernie Williams. He cannot get there, so Guzman dunks a base hit for the first hit of the game, a 1-out single.
Well, this is a bit of a jam shot, but Guzman able to fight it off for the first base hit of this game. Not good location by Pettitte. If you had to ask him again, he'd want that pitch down a little bit in the strike zone and not so much up in the strike zone.
They are allowing the pitchers to blow on their hands, and the umpires give you permission before the game because of the inclement weather. Here's Corey Koski. Swing and a miss.
Another good curve.
This is the home opener at Yankee Stadium. It was snowed out yesterday. 5 inches of snow blanketed the New York area. Now you might look at the outfield here at the stadium and go, well, why does it look so great? Well, what the Yankees did, very heads up, they got the forecast for snow. They sent a truck over to Giant Stadium, and they got the tarpaulin for the football field at Giant Stadium, and the entire field, not just the infield, but the outfield was covered as well. So it is in great shape.
What they did, Michael, after they took the snow off the tarpaulin, they put all the snow in both dugouts, and then they got a steam machine and steamed the snow that was in the dugouts and melted all the snow, so you don't see anything around there. You don't even see a trace of it. What a great job. They've been out here since 5 a.m. yesterday morning.
Danny Cunningham and the Yankee grounds crew deserve kudos for this job, because it's not easy to get this ballpark ready, let alone the field, when you have snow like that. You don't want snow in the stands, because that could create all sorts of problems. So they got rid of that, and there's hardly any snow visible whatsoever in this ballpark. They did an outstanding job. The 1-2 just got a piece. A lot of these players, as you can see, have heavy sweatshirts underneath their uniform, and you wonder, does that inhibit them at all?
I don't think so. You'll notice all the players like Robin Ventura, they're moving around. That's why the best thing to be today as a pitcher, those outfielders and infielders, be a little chilly. Pitcher's always moving.
You really have to wonder about Eric Almonte. We just had that shot. He doesn't even have a long sleeve shirt. I guess he's so hot because he's the Yankee shortstop right now. He doesn't feel it.
Again, when you're out in the field, you know, your mind's on other things. I think it's between innings that it's more important to stay warm.
Well, he is the only Yankee without a long sleeve shirt under the home white pinstripes. Now the dugouts are warmer because the inside of each step have little heaters that blow hot air out toward the players that are sitting. So you'll see open spaces on the bench. You wonder why. Well, that's where there might not be a heater on the stair in front.
Both dugouts. Well, the Yankee dugout also has heat and air. So in the summertime, they're blowing air conditioning. They're blowing the cold air through there.
You'd have liked to have had some of those early games in Minnesota, wouldn't you?
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. That's when the Yankees, actually, when they played in Minnesota, 35, 40 years ago, Steve Hamilton, their player rep, tried to get a law passed that no game would start with the temperature less than 38 degrees.
32 degrees, I thought it was.
No, it was 38.
Was it 38?
Yeah. And if that was the case, he wouldn't be playing today.
2-2. Grounded to second. Let's see if they get two. There's one. And there's two. 4, 6, 3 double play. And Pettit works out of a mini jam. No runs, a hit, no errors, and because of the double play, nobody left. So the Twins take their hacks at the top of the first. Now the Yankees come to bat here on CBS 2. Together this lineup, red hot Alfonso Soriano leads off. He'll play second base. The first baseman is Nick Johnson. He'll bat second. Batting third and DHing Jason Giambi. Bernie Williams in center field. He's been red hot as well. He'll bat cleanup. Batting fifth, the left fielder playing his first game at Yankee Stadium, Hideki Matsui has hit safely in all 6 games he's played so far. Still looking for his first home run. Jorge Posada will catch. He'll bat sixth. Batting seventh, the playing third base, Robin Ventura. Raul Mondesi's gotten off to a great start on the road trip. He'll play in right field. He'll bat eighth, and batting ninth and filling in for the injured Derek Jeter, the shortstop, Eric Almonte.
And they'll face 27-year-old right-hander Joe Mays, off to a good start. Only 5 innings in his first. There's a reason for that. He only went 5, picked up a win. And let's check out the scouting report on the right-hander. Joe Mays is a to and fro guy. That means not side to side, but he's got a good fastball and a good changeup. They're going to be cautious with his elbow. That's why he only went 5 innings. He had some surgery to remove some loose bodies there. He is an all-star quality pitcher. 2 years ago, 17 wins, pitched a great game against the world champion Angels in game 1 of the championship series last year.
Lifetime against the Yankees, 1-4 with a 4.28 ERA. Soriano loves to jump on the first pitch. I'm sure Mays knows that. We'll see how he starts him off. Breaking ball a little bit high, 1-0. Soriano was named the American League Player of the Week for the first week of the season, and you see those numbers and they tell you why. Not only does he have a 6-game hitting streak, but all multi-hit games. Soriano, Johnson, and Giambi, the first 3 men in the Yankee lineup, have 7 home runs. The Twins have 4 as a team. There's a ground ball to short. Guzman to Mankiewicz, 1 away.
Number 36, Nick Johnson. First base.
Nick Johnson steps in. .263 so far this year. There's a line drive to left field, a base hit for Nick Johnson. Nice piece of hitting. Took a pitch away and lined it that way. So a 1-out single for Nick Johnson.
Yeah, Michael and Jimmy, Joe Torre's been toying a little bit with that second place hitter now that Derek Jeter's on the disabled list, and Johnson prototypically fits that bill pretty good, other than the fact that he doesn't have a whole lot of speed to hit into the second slot. A pitch away from Joe Mays, and Nick Johnson shows why the Yankees are so high on him, not only defensively but offensively, hitting the ball to all areas. You just got to believe that what we've seen in Nick Johnson from last year to this year, like Soriano, he just keeps getting better and better and better.
Here's Giambi hitting just .208, but he has a pretty good on-base percentage. I believe he's walked 7 times so far this year. And that one's hit deep to right field. Going back to Dyer. He's on the track, and he'll make the play as he bangs into the wall. So Giambi flirts with a home run, but run down by Kadire for the second out of the inning, and Nick Johnson gets back.
That might be one of those stingers, Bobby.
Yeah.
That might have got the, let's see if it got the end of the bat. Ooh, that'd make you wring your hands a little bit.
I know what he's feeling like, for sure. The ball just running away a little bit from Giambi, and he's out in front, and he catches it on the end of the bat and just doesn't get enough of it to leave the yard.
There's Bernie Williams. Williams has started the season in proper fashion. Everything he hits seems to be right on the screws, hitting .444. That's his best start in April ever. He's a .270 some odd hitter in April in his career. Always starts off slowly. And this year he's feeling healthy because he was able to do shoulder exercises during the winter. Really paid attention to that. Last year he didn't get on track until he had cortisone shots in each of his shoulders on April 15th. He's also making contact all the time. In 27 at-bats, he only has 1 strikeout. He's worked the count 2-0.
Well, you can imagine if you don't have full range of your shoulders and you've got pain in your shoulders, that Matsui is looking for his first time at the plate at Yankee Stadium. You can imagine what you go up there with your mind thinking about your shoulders and the pain and not concentrating on the pitcher.
Pulls the string on Bernie, and Bernie way out in front.
That's the to and fro, Joe Mays. Excellent change-up to go along with the sinking fastball. 2-0 sitting on a fastball, and he took a little off.
Boy, that's a tough league when you work the count 2-0 or 3-1 and you see a changeup.
What it is when you work 2-0 and you can throw those type of pitches, you're looking at a guy that can win 20 games for you and throw them for strikes.
They have another guy on their staff who's an outstanding changeup artist, and that's Brad Radke. He will not start in this series. Ron Gardenhire, the manager of the Twins, doing his Leo Mazzoni imitation. Runner goes, and the pitch is high. The throw to second is not in time. It gets away from Guzman, and Nick Johnson gets up and goes to third. He'll make it. Heads up base running by Nick Johnson.
Joe Torre's favorite running count, 3-1. And actually it was 2-1, and Bernie takes that one. Johnson slides underneath the tag, and with Guzman trying to catch it on the run, boy, you can almost see the frustration in Pierzynski, the catchers. They like to see infielders get to the bag and stay there instead of try to kind of fancy Dan and catch it on the run, and it cost the Twins a base there.
Full count on Bernie, and the pitch. Driven out to deep right center field. Didn't get enough, though. Kadire is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. We'll have to wait for Matsui's Yankee debut, at least at the plate, until the next inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 man left. We played 1, no score, Yankees and the Twins. We go to the second inning. Torrey Hunter will lead off against Andy Pettit. Time is called. Something loose in center field, I believe. Jorge Posada was the one who jumped up and called time. Doesn't like anything was tended to, so we'll begin. Foul back. Now the Twins, in this age of revenue sharing where you see teams with no shame whatsoever, and you see the scouting report on the All-Star, no shame at all, take added revenue sharing and put it into their pocket. The Twins actually went out and signed one of their good young players, Torrey Hunter, to a 4-year, $32 million deal. He's gotten off to a rough start, but that is a commitment by the franchise. We're going to keep our players with the money that we're getting.
There is a few other players whose contracts were renewed that they hope that the Twins part with a little more of that money.
That's popped up right side. Soriano, 1 away.
And that's Pierzynski and Guardado, but they did spring for Hunter, and they have got a surplus of talented outfielders, not just the ones here on the major league roster, but even in the minor league. I mean, they've got 3 guys in right field: Kadire, Keelty, and Dustin Moore, who's one of their outstanding players last year. They've got 3 right fielders that could probably play for a lot of ball clubs.
Here's Matthew Lecroy, 2 for 17 so far this year. That one's hit sharply to short, right there. Almonte, 2 away.
Think about this. $169 million was distributed amongst the small market teams last year, over 250 this year, and they're talking about over $300 million next year to be distributed amongst the small market team. With that kind of money, it kind of makes you want to buy one.
Why don't we go buy one of those like the Expos, and we'll take that money and build us a new golf course. We have to spend it on players.
With that kind of money, the reason I bring that up, with that kind of money, why not sign?
Right.
That's what it's there for, to sign those types of players like Hunter and Pierzynski.
And then you hear teams like the Oakland A's, they can't sign the MVP of the American League, Miguel Tejada. Makes you scratch your head. Pitch to Mankiewicz is a little bit low, and then a team like the Kansas City Royals they're off to their best start ever. They can't sign their center fielder.
You know, a caveat to that too, Michael, is the fact that the teams, once they get that money, they don't have to spend it on player personnel. They can spend it on anything within their organization. Take down their debt, liability, whatever.
Mankiewicz fouls one off.
I tell you, the Twins have done. I mean, Terry Ryan, their general manager, was the executive of the year. Their organization was the organization of the year. They have really signed, like this young man right here, Doug Mankiewicz, a lot of talented young players, and that's why they won the American League Central last year. And they should only get better.
Top of the second inning, no score, 2 outs against Andy Pettitte, and the pitch a little bit high. Mankiewicz did not have a great year last year after a very good year the previous season. He had 261 last year. He really had an off-season workout program that he hopes is going to pay off. It doesn't right there. A fly ball to center field. Bernie puts it away. And a 1-2-3 inning for Andy Pettitte and the Yankees. When we come back, that man, Hideki Matsui, will have his first at bat in Yankee Stadium. That should be fun. Keep it right here. No score, bottom of the second on CBS 2. Nice warm applause for Hideki Matsui as he digs in his first at bat in Yankee Stadium. Swing and a miss. Matsui has hit safely in his first 6 games as a Yankee. Still looking for his first home run. This game is being televised live in Tokyo. It's 5:30 in the morning there. And there's a ground ball to second base. Rivas. One away. How weird is this? The temperature in Tokyo is 55 degrees. The temperature in Minneapolis is 45 degrees, and here in the Bronx is 36. Who thought it would be warmer in Minneapolis?
Yeah, good point. That means that maybe we got warmer temperatures on the way here.
Could be.
And also remember this, that when Jim Cott was playing there, and then when we used to open up a lot of times with the Yankees in Minnesota, it used to be 25 degrees.
And they didn't play in that ugly Metrodome. They played outdoors.
Yeah.
Here's Jorge Posada. Line drive, base hit down the right field line. Cutting over is Kadire. He's going to play it in the corner. Posada will hustle into second with a stand-up 1-out double.
Watching Posada early on in the spring and also starting off this year, he just looks like he's primed for a big year for the Yankees. He's in the best shape that he's ever been in. And I was talking to him, as I mentioned, before today's ball game, and I asked him about catching on a day like this, and he said, "You got to be kidding me. These are the kind of days you want to be behind the plate with all that equipment on."
Yeah, a little extra warmth.
And you don't wear down as quickly. So he's at second. Here's Ventura. Man, the pitch is high. No score. We're in the bottom of the second inning on a chilly day at Yankee Stadium, the home opener in the 100th anniversary season of the New York Yankees franchise. Began play in 1903. There's a hot shot. Nice stab there to the glove side by Rivas. 2 away. Moving to third is Jorge Posada. That had a little Olay quality to it.
Ooh, that was some play. I mean, he didn't catch this ball, it caught him. You know, he just was moving to his left and put his glove down there, and bingo, look what I found. Good reactions. And you can see the tail end of that play, the footing problems that the players can have today, particularly around that edge where the infield dirt meets the grass. A little softer there than the other areas.
Here's one of the hottest Yankees, Raul Mondesi. Hit .409 on the opening road trip and hustled every single ground ball, fly ball, base hit. There's a strike.
One of the things that we'll take a look at Gardenhire.
Well, the first thing Ron Gardenhire said this morning in his office, he's looking at the Yankee lineup. He said, "You kidding me? Raul Mondesi's hitting 8th. This is a pretty good lineup we're going up against." Used to seeing him 4th or 5th.
There's a hot shot off the glove of Koski and into left field. The Yankees are on the board. Mondesi makes a big turn. He'll head back to first. Probably be an RBI single. Definitely a run. Yankees lead 1-0.
One of the points I was going to make about Mondesi, he doesn't have that big hitch in his swing that he had last year. Mondesi, with the lowering of the hands, has allowed him to stay in that position without bringing the bat up, bringing the bat down, and then swinging it through the strike zone. All of that movement through his timing off last year, and with the addition of Reggie talking to him, and they came to the conclusion, let's lower our hands a little bit and keep our hands moving through the strike zone. Get rid of that huge hitch that he had.
Here's Almonte. Foul back.
Yeah, the guy that had the hitch on that play was Corey Koski. I mean, third baseman, one of the things you hope a third baseman will do is give up his body and at least block the ball. But I think Koski said, man, that thing was hit like a rocket. I'll try to play it to the side of him.
He was a former goalie in Canada, and he should have tried a kick save. That was in junior hockey. They do score that a base hit, so Mondesi's first RBI, and the Yankees up 1-0. Yankees 55th run in their 56th inning. Run an inning, that's not bad. You'll win some games.
And if you can get some footing over there at first base, I think it's a great day for base stealers. Might take you a little longer to get your legs loose, but it is very, very difficult for the catcher to get a good grip on the ball, make an accurate throw.
The 0-2 to Almonte. He swings and misses. Foul tips it, actually. Held on to by Brzezinski, and that will do it here in the second inning. But the Yankees get on the board. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. We play 2 at a frigid Yankee Stadium. It's the New York Yankees 1 and the Minnesota Twins 0. To tell the story of this game for the rest of their life. Yeah, it was freezing, and we sat there, and it was great. The Yankees got off to a 1-0 lead. And that's just the beginning of the story. We go to the third. Here's Michael Kadire. That one's driven out to right field. It's going to be a tough play for Mondesi. Moves into the corner on the run. He makes the play for the first out of the inning. Outstanding play by Raul Mondesi.
Number 26.
It's probably the most dangerous part of the field today, Bobby. You can see the warning track with that drying agent on, footing a little tough out there.
Well, the warning track is a little bit softer than the field. The field's almost dry, the outfield and the infield, because they had that tarpaulin on to keep the snow away. And the outfield, when you see the warning track there, is soft and a little bit wet.
Here's Brzezinski. Count 1-0. Inside out's the ball foul.
He cannot hit quite like Larry Walker yet, but when you look at Brzezinski from that shot, I mean, he's a dead ringer for Larry Walker, the outstanding National League hitter. He's an all-star catcher, and yet the Twins' best player in their minor leagues is an up-and-coming phenom named Joe Mauer. Yankees, or the Twins, have a player in uniform today from St. Paul, future Hall of Famer Paul Molitor. Paul's going to be doing a lot of work with their minor league organization, but he is in uniform today here at the stadium. There's Molly.
Line drive to center field. Bernie Williams right there, doesn't have to move. 2 away. You know, Andy Pettitte is pitching in somewhat inclement weather today, but no big deal for him. He's gone through it before. Let's just go back to 1996. Yankee home opener. Andy Pettitte was on the mound. It started snowing after about 3 or 4 innings, and Andy Pettitte persevered, as the rest of the team did as well. And Andy Pettitte got the victory in that game. Santa Claus was there, the whole deal.
And the umpire in short sleeves.
Rivas looks at a pitch low.
That may have been a sign, Jimmy and Michael, because 1996 is when this dynasty started, and 7 years later they have 4 world championships.
Well, Santa's back. He shaved the beard.
Semi-Santa.
Hot shot to first. Knocked down by Nick Johnson. He'll take it himself. A 1-2-3 inning for Andy Pettitte, who has faced the minimum 9 over the first 3. A double play in the first inning made it 1-2-3 as well. We played 2.5 at Yankee Stadium. It's the Yankees 1 and the Minnesota Twins 0. Like 29 degrees at Yankee Stadium. And Alfonso Soriano leads off.
In this world of high tech, Bobby, those hot water bottles are the most valuable commodities today for pitchers in particular. Keep those hands warm.
Looped out down the right field line. Fair ball, it's trouble. That is a foul ball into the seats.
I used to have my own hot water bottle. I bought it, put my name on it, and it was only mine. I didn't want anybody else sharing, especially on a cold day like this.
You had your own personal rocker too.
Yeah, I did have that. You know, you see everybody bundled up on the Yankee in the Yankee dugout, also here in the stand, but you don't see Andy Pettitte there. Andy Pettitte goes down to the clubhouse. There is a sauna inside the Yankee clubhouse along where the shower area is, and he will go and sit in that sauna. You were talking about it earlier about the elbow stiffening up. Well, it helps him. It helps him stay loose. It helps him stay warm, and he can even lose a little weight while he's in there.
You have to be some fan to be here today. And the crowd is heavily bundled up against the elements. Popped up foul, out of play. The lights are on here at Yankee Stadium. And this is not your typical 56,000 for a game. It was sold out. Obviously, every ticket has been sold out. But some people, because of the change in day and change in time, not able to make it today, and maybe they didn't want to sit in this type of weather.
And the Yankees will reward them with a ticket for a future game this year.
And the 1-2 pitch. Pulled the string, and Soriano way out in front.
You know, all the talk about baseball being in trouble, and it's in trouble because most owners overspend, don't make good decisions. But when you look at past opening days, even in good weather, it was not uncommon to have crowds of 15,000, 16,000 people. And all of a sudden, these sellout crowds in the last decade are a bit unusual compared to in the history of baseball.
Hot shot, just foul outside of third. Well, no matter what the other sports do, first game of the football season, basketball, hockey, nothing has the cachet as the first game of the baseball season.
Well, if it's done like today, I mean, it was just pathetic to have to sit through those ceremonies in Toronto, where the only thing missing to make it Studio 54 was the dance floor. You know, all the smoke and mirrors. But the ceremonies here, and the Twins did a terrific job in Minnesota during their home opener. They actually had by video some soldiers over in Kuwait throwing out the ceremonial first pitch from over there. That's pretty cool.
I also think that opening day now, the reason I think it's a bigger draw, or could be a bigger draw, is the fact that around the leagues, this is the first time that the fans can see their ball club tied for first place.
High fly ball foul into the upper deck. That's right. Everybody starts off the season at least tied, and everybody has hope. That's kind of neat.
Well, that's a hopeful day. There's no doubt about that. And the pomp and circumstances are certainly a lot. It's about as close as you're going to get to World Series atmosphere on opening day anywhere around baseball that you will on a day like today.
And the 1-2 pitch. Line drive to left field. A base hit for Soriano. A very good at bat for the Yankees second baseman. So he's halfway to another multi-hit game.
Anybody remember what he hit in spring training? Reason I bring that up is because nobody cares. But I was talking with Ron Gardenhire, and he said, you know, our ball club was hitting well in spring training, but we can't hit now. I don't know what Soriano was hitting in spring training, but he sure got things going when the bell rang.
Here's Soriano. He had a single to left and a stolen base in the first inning. Let's see if they run. Nick Johnson, I'm sorry, Soriano is at first. Johnson single to left in the first.
I think it's a pretty good indication with Johnson stealing for the first time that Joe Torre is going to test out Brzezinski in this cold weather.
Soriano has a big lead. Held there by Mankiewicz. There's a strike. Home plate umpire is Gary Cederstrom. Along with Jim Cott and Bobby Mercer, I'm Michael Kay. This is the Yankee home opener on CBS2. Yankees got a run in the second inning, a double by Posada, and then an RBI single by Raul Mondesi. Joe Mays for the Twins, Andy Pettitte for the Yankees. Yankees come into the game at 5-1. The Twins are 3-3. Pitch is high. Last year, the Yankees and the Twins hooked up, and the Twins were a really good team. And then you look at the record last year, and you scratch your head. Yankees were 6-0 against the Twins. Doesn't make sense. Now, in years before, when the Twins really struggled, you could understand that. But 6-0 last year, they handled the Twins beautifully. In fact, they were 29-7 against teams in the American League Central. That helped them get to the 103 win mark.
You see him paying attention to Soriano. And Bobby, if I'm Nick Johnson, I'd take a cut and pay to hit between these two guys. Can you imagine hitting behind Soriano and ahead of Giambi, how many fastballs you're going to get to hit, particularly with Soriano's speed?
Forget the fastballs, how many good pitches you're going to get the chance to hit at. And I think that's the reason Soriano gave Johnson the first strike before he takes off. The reason I say that is because that big hole between first and second, you might as well give a quality hitter. Look at this big hole right here. That is that's for Johnson to drive that ball through, and then if he doesn't do it after the first strike, you're on your own. Move down to second. Let him pick his pitch.
Just nut foul. The other day in Tampa Bay, Paul O'Neill was saying that Joe Torre lets you run on the pitch you want to run on. He said because it really hampers a runner when you have the sign you have to go now. He said, what if you don't get a good jump now? He said, you're going to end up getting thrown out. Joe Torre kind of gives you a green light in that sense. He might give you a red light, don't go in this at bat. But Soriano can go when Soriano wants to go. Ron Gardenhire in his second year as Twins manager. Managed his team to a Central Division title last year and an upset of the A's in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think more managers today have a don't go sign than they actually have a go sign, because there's so much more speed in the game. So many guys capable of stealing bases.
Base stealers steal on rhythm and tendencies by pitchers.
Count levels at 2-2.
See, here's an example, and just for viewers, when we were saying you get a lot of fastballs to hit, people might be saying why. Well, if you're Joe Mays right now, you don't want to walk Nick Johnson with Giambi coming up, and catchers will call fastballs because the base stealers get such a good jump on the breaking ball. So your percentage of fastballs, if you're Nick Johnson, goes up markedly when you're hitting in that two-hole.
Now, Joe Torre has been toying with the idea of maybe moving Matsui to the two-hole. Do you think that he could work there?
I don't know a hitter that couldn't work in the I mean, anytime a hitter's having a few problems, you know, if you got a guy that's getting off to a slow start and he's about 0 for 20, put him in the two spot. You get a couple knocks.
I would say that if I was Hideki Matsui, I'd be going to Joe Torre saying, you want me to hit in the second spot.
Isn't there also, though, you have to have added patience in that spot? You have to give Soriano a chance to steal as well, because sometimes with that patience you find yourself in a hole. And Soriano last year, and career should I say, stolen bases 86, caught 29 times. Not a great percentage. They'd like him to be better than that. There he goes. There's a ground ball to second base, bobbled by Rivas. But he recovers and tosses the ball to Mankiewicz one away. I think that Soriano crossing in front of Rivas blinded him.
And it's what Michael's talking about. Soriano jumps over the ball, and Rivas loses sight of it momentarily. Then it takes kind of a high hop, and he keeps his body in a position where he can keep the ball in front of him and get the sure out at first base. Now
the Twins have a little bit of a decision. They have first base open. Not that they'll intentionally walk Giambi. But it's hard to make that choice because the guy on deck is Bernie Williams. And there's a strike.
What it does, in my opinion, when you know you have first base open and you're Jason Giambi, you're gonna pretty much think that, I know he's not going to groove one for me. I think he's going to try to make the best pitches he can on me, and if he doesn't get me out or get me to swing at something bad, then he'll take the chances with Bernie Williams and maybe the double play.
And Giambi is so patient, he is not going to extend his strike zone or expand it at all to swing.
That's a good point, and I was just going to bring up the fact that here is the hitter. Now, in his mind, he's up there thinking what I was saying, and you know, consequently, you may not be ready to hit that good pitch if he throws it in there because you're thinking he's not going to give you a good one.
That ball gets away from Przinsky, and moving to third is Soriano. So now the Yankees can score him with an out.
Like a breaking ball that Przinsky didn't get his body over. Couldn't quite get it over there. Now has trouble locating it. Well, if pitchers have been following the box scores right now, they know that Jason Giambi, by his own admission, he said, I've been the designated out in this lineup. It's the other guys that are, I don't know if I'd want to walk in to get to Bernie Williams right now.
He's 1 for his last 12. You see his numbers career against Mays, but he does have 7 walks. Infield in. High pop-up. Coming in is Hunter. Not deep enough the tag, so Soriano stays put. 2 away. Tonight on an all-new Late Show, Dave welcomes Adam Sandler and the latest person voted off Survivor. And tomorrow, catch Lisa Marie Presley and Jamie Kennedy. The Late Show with David Letterman tonight, right after CBS 2 News at 11.
Yeah, if you're thinking about walking anybody early in the game, and you know, the first 3 innings, every base runner you put on, I think as a pitcher, you put yourself in a little more trouble. But I would be more apt if I'm Joe Mays right now to walk Bernie Williams if I fell behind and get at Matsui, a guy who hasn't seen a lot of me.
There's Matsui. He grounded to second in the second. And the pitch to Bernie. There's a strike. Bobby, ever wear anything like that in a cold day?
They didn't have anything like that when we played. Maybe a turtleneck. That's about all we had. And we had that bulky thermal underwear that we used to wear too. Today, these guys have this very sleek.
Oh yeah, spandex.
Spandex. So it's not cumbersome. It's not bothersome. And it keeps you warm.
You would have looked good in spandex. It's a compliment. What?
Can you believe he brings something up like that? And he looked straight at me too when he said that.
Soriano leads off third with 2 outs.
You're taking it a little bit too far, Michael.
Meant as a compliment.
No,
really.
I'm just kidding.
You got to run with that. 1-0 Yankees, bottom of the third, the home opener here at Yankee Stadium, the first of 81 in the Bronx. Hey, Kitty, you're allowed to blow on their hands, right?
Yeah.
Isn't a day like this an easy day to load up the ball? I mean, you could spit in your hands when your hand's up there.
Well, they watch closely from the corners, the first and third base umpire. You blow in your hands, that's it. Here's that situation where, see, he expectorated on the ground and he blew in his hand.
And that expectoration could be freezing on your fingers too, so it makes it really slippery.
3-1. Broken back ground ball to first. Mankiewicz fields. He'll beat Bernie to the bag, and that'll do it for the Yankees in the third inning. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We play 3 in the home opener at Yankee Stadium. As the New York Yankees won, the Twins nothing. Well, it's time to take a look back at a great moment in Yankee history. On April 18, 1923, Yankee Stadium opened with a 4-1 win for the Yankees over the Boston Red Sox before a reported crowd of 74,200. And Babe Ruth hit the stadium's first home run. This look back has been brought to you by Chevy. Chevy will be there. Shock Jones leads off, and the pitch is high. Kitty, what was that day like? Was it cold?
Yeah, it was. Not quite as cold as today.
How far did that home run go, kids?
Yeah, you had a hanging curve.
That is driven out to left field. Giving chase is Matsui on the run. He's not going to get there. It's over his head and up against the wall. Jock Jones will be at second with a leadoff double here in the 4th inning. He gave it a ride.
Talented outfielders these Twins have, and Jones is one of them. That ball's a home run in the Metrodome already. His 4th double of the season. Well off the plate. And that breaking ball, as you see Posada reach back in, caught too much of the plate. That pitch designed to go low and away.
Christian Guzman.
Here's Guzman. He will follow up, and you see the ball go over Matsui's head. He really didn't have a chance. Guzman has a choice now. Hit the ball to the right side, or will Gardenhire ask him to bunt? More conventional sacrifice. He swings away, or at least he was set to, and there's a strike.
Well, we all know that Matsui played center field in Japan. Playing here at Yankee Stadium, you know, one of the toughest fields to play here is left field, and he will pay close attention to Lee Mazzilli in the Yankee dugout as he tries to place him correctly defensively in the outfield. One of the toughest things to do when you have a big outfield like Yankee Stadium. Do you play too close? Do you play too deep? Do you leave a big gap between you and Bernie? And Mazzilli will, at least for the first part of it, he will be positioning Matsui out in the outfield. See him, he's moving now. They've told him to move over just a little bit more towards Bernie.
Pettit out of the stretch, and the 0-2. Swung and a miss. He struck him out. Surprising they did not have Guzman bunt there. One away.
Well, he must have felt like that Guzman was going to be able to at least hit the ball to the right side, and if he didn't get a base hit, he's going to move the runner up from second. But he didn't get the job done.
They've had a lot of trouble scoring runs. 20 runs in 6 games, and coming into this game, they had a 152 batting average with runners in scoring position. Koski fouls it back. Yankees got their run in the 2nd inning, a double by Posada, 1 out later. Raul Mondesi ripped one past Corey Koski for an RBI single. That's it. Pettit against Mays with a pitcher's duel. There's the defensive alignment.
Pretty much straight away, huh? Especially in the outfield.
Joe Torre was saying before Sunday's game that the Yankee hitters did so well on the road trip because it was not your typical beginning of the season. The hitters were comfortable. All the games were indoors. He said usually this time pitchers are ahead of the hitters, and that's one of the reasons hitters don't like to hit in this sort of weather.
I think the other reason you have to look at is that in the East Division, there's not a lot of competition for the Yankees. I mean, maybe Toronto will surprise a bit, but now when you start playing Minnesota and Seattle and teams like that, they're much tougher opposition than Tampa Bay and Toronto are going to be.
Jeff Weaver from Southern California has to bundle up against the weather. Swing and miss.
I'm just amazed that Andy Pettit, here he is from Texas. He didn't pitch in this cold weather as a kid. To have that kind of a breaking ball, I mean, I can just imagine trying to grip the curveball in the old days in Minnesota. It is not that easy, and he's had not just an average one, he's had a great one.
And to add to that is, I think that also Andy Pettit's a good sign that Andy Pettit's elbow is pretty healthy at this stage of the game.
Well, he was brilliant in his first game, 7 shutout innings against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Mel Stottlemyre in spring training devised a plan for Andy Pettit, and they got together early on and said, look, let's try to not to have any setbacks this year. We had a couple of setbacks last year because we started throwing real hard in the beginning. We threw a lot of breaking balls, a lot of cutters. Let's don't throw any of that. Let's just take it nice, slow, and easy. And when we get towards the end of spring training, maybe towards the last start or the second to last start, then we can start throwing the cutter. And I think that's made a world of difference in Pettit.
And the 3-2. Fouled away. Well, Andy has said that, Bobby, and what he did the previous year, he felt so strong because of his workouts with Roger Clemens that he started throwing and felt so good. He was throwing 95 miles an hour, tried to break out the cutter right away, and he felt something in the elbow. And this year he said, I'm not having any of that. And in his first couple of spring training starts, his fastball was clocked at about 83, 84. And all of a sudden, all the scouts start whispering, something's wrong with his arm because he's not throwing hard. Well, he was doing that by design.
Yeah, it was on purpose.
Got that one on. Did you get that one on the handle or off the end of the bat? You see Koski shaking that hand.
That's the bees we were talking about.
That's why I'd rather be a pitcher today than a hitter.
Well, he should be used to it. He graduated from the University of Manitoba.
I don't know if
he knows cold weather.
I don't know if he played any baseball up there. I think he played hockey.
And the 3-2. A little bit low, so Koski walks. That puts runners on first and second with one out, and Torrey Hunter comes to the plate.
Yeah, there's some walks that are good and others are, very seldom are walks any good, but sometimes with the base open, but in that particular case, not. You walk Koski, a left-hand hitter, to get to a guy like Torrey Hunter, who you know is not going to hit a .143 all year.
He popped out the Soriano in the second, so he's 0 for 1. And the pitch low and inside. Torrey Hunter is a legitimate star. You see his year by year. Last year, he just broke out. An all-star, 289, 29 homers, 94 runs batted in, and that led to that contract extension over the winter. And he's an outstanding center fielder. Line drive to left field. That is going to be a base hit. Cutting over is Matsui. He cuts it off in the gap. Nice play. 1 run will score. Koski goes to third. Moving to second is Torrey Hunter with an RBI double. This game is tied at 1. And they are giving a nice hand to Matsui for that defensive play. He saved a run.
Well, the way I look at it, he saved 2 runs simply because it may be 3 runs, because that run is going to score from first base. And no doubt that Torrey Hunter would have ended up at third. That would have been a triple for him, and maybe even an inside the park home run. Nice hustling play by Matsui as he continues to try to get comfortable in Yankee Stadium left field. That's what they try to teach you, is to get over as fast as you can and cut it off from going to the gap. You only do that because you get a good jump off the bat.
Took a rough hop, and he really had to reach up and away to come down with it. Yankees play the infield back. They'll give up the go-ahead run. And the pitch to Matthew LeCroy is a strike, 0-2.
Matthew looks like a designated hitter. Played his college ball at Clemson. Right now, I think Willie Randolph, as you see the hand gesture, alerting El Monte and Robin Ventura, if he flips the hands over and grounds it out, be ready to come home.
The 0-2, a little bit low.
Often wondered what Smokey Burgess would have done as a designated hitter.
Yeah, Smokey Burgess, Bobby's talking about one of the great pinch hitters in baseball several decades ago.
And the 1-2. Foul back.
Well, he's got a chance to really be a producer with the Twins. He's going to get the opportunity, because if there's one area where the Twins need some help, they need a big bat. They need like a Giambi type of hitter in their lineup, and LeCroy is getting an opportunity to do that.
That's the reason Kadire is getting his shot too. They need that big bat from the right side.
Koski's on third. Hunter is on second. 2-2. Missed outside. First base is open. On deck is Doug Mankiewicz, a lefty batter. In this situation, second and third, infield back, one out. Are you thinking strikeout? Are you trying to get a strikeout?
You're thinking about making a good pitch here. This pitch could be anything to the hitter. It's going to be what he thinks he can get him out on.
3-2. Hit sharply to third. Let's see if they come home. Ventura does, and the play is in time. They got him. Nice tag by Posada. Beautiful throw by Ventura, 2 away.
Well, that's what Willie Randolph was talking about. If he turns that over and the runner goes, and Posada had to reach a little bit for it. Actually, one of those neighborhood plays, Bobby. If the ball's in the neighborhood of the plate before the runner gets there, he's out. I think if you're able to slow it down, the runner actually touched home plate before Posada tagged him. Here's Koski barreling down.
Got him on the ankle.
Yeah. Looked like maybe that lead foot might have caught the plate.
There's a strike to Mankiewicz. Torrey Hunter stayed at second, did not advance to third on that. Little odd.
Yes, it is.
That throw comes home. He has to make him dart for third. LeCroy reaches it first. Another strike, 0-2.
Another look at the plate. Yeah, he got him on the lead foot.
Good call by Gary Cederstrom, the home plate umpire. See on the right shoulder of the chest guard, Jorge Posada paying tribute to Derek Jeter, his buddy who's on the DL. And the 0-2. Grounded to second. He will get out of it. That'll do it. So Andy Pettitte only gives up one. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's a 1-1 game. Bottom of the 4th inning, Hideki Matsui strides to the plate, gets another nice hand from the fans here at Yankee Stadium. Matsui grounded to second. That was in the second, his first stadium at bat. Now Matsui has seen a game here at Yankee Stadium. He picked a good one as well, 1999. And take a look at his play in the outfield in the previous inning that got the crowd on its feet. But Matsui actually bought a ticket to the 1999 Yankees-Red Sox Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. And in that game, he remembers Paul O'Neill getting the winning hit, so he remembered a lot about the game. And then in January, when he signed his contract, he was here to take some pictures. And the stadium was empty, a lot different than it is today, although it's probably warmer in January than it is right now.
Probably.
He has hit safely in every game as a Yankee, 6 straight. Count levels at 2-2.
And I'm sure everybody's thinking about, well, he hit 50 home runs in Japan last year. Where's the first home run here as a Yankee? And of course, the Yankees have broken out in their home run chase this year with lots of home runs. He's still looking for his first home run. But if you take a look at Matsui's swing, and we've talked about it quite often here on the broadcast, he's got more of a level swing. He's got more one of those types of swings that he hits line drive, more of a gap type swing. He doesn't have that lift, you know, that you normally see from his home run hitters.
He worked out a walk there, good at bat against May, so he's on the lead off the inning, and that'll bring up Posada.
This is how Joe Mays went at Hideki Matsui. Breaking ball, pretty close, but that was a ball. That's a ball, 2-0. It's that good movement away from him to run the count to 2. Boy, those are very, very close pitches, and then on the full count pitch, that one is not close, and he works out a walk.
Posada doubled in the second inning, scored the Yankees' only run, and the first pitch is a strike.
Well, the strong suit for the Minnesota Twins has been their starting pitching, as you well know, Kitty. And but Eric Milton is out, and he could be out until maybe August or September this year. The fine left-hander, former New York Yankee.
The 0-1 outside.
We're talking about Matsui, Bobby, and when is he going to hit his first home run, or where's it going to be? There's a guy they call Wrench, Dan Gladden. He was some kind of tough player. He does the Twins radio work, and he actually played alongside of Hideki Matsui in Japan when Matsui was a rookie, just out of high school. And he said the amazing thing in looking at him when he saw him in spring training, he said he looked like the same player when he came out of high school that he does right now. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but most of the stadiums he played for in Japan were a lot smaller than Yankee Stadium.
And that was Gladden.
Yes.
Didn't look like him.
Looked like a linebacker. Played like a linebacker. Well, he said the stadium they played at in Japan where he and Hideki Matsui played was called the Egg, and it was a dome very much like the Metrodome, which is a lot easier to hit home runs than it is in Yankee Stadium.
Matsui leads off first.
Dan Gladden, famous in Twins history for those of you that follow World Series play. One of the great World Series, 1991, when the Twins beat the Braves in 7 games, 1-0 in the 11th inning, and Dan Gladden scored the run.
Well, you always remember something about a player, and I remember a lot about Dan Gladden, but one of the things that stands out is that hair used to be flowing, a lot of blonde hair.
Swing and a miss. There's that change, and Posada way out in front.
That's the reason I didn't think it was Gladden, but I looked over, it looked like he had the dark hair.
Well, it's opening day here at the house that Ruth built, but stick around. Right after tonight's game, you'll meet a man who actually played side by side with the Babe. Oh, the story he's going to tell. No Yankee fan will want to miss Tales of the Babe, a CBS 2 News special report right after the game on CBS 2. Here's Ventura. Hit deep to right field, going back to Dyer, looking up, see ya! A 2-run home run for Robin Ventura, and the Yankees lead 3-1.
Well, you talked about Mondesi hitting 8th in his lineup. How about Ventura? He hit 7th in the lineup. That's his 3rd home run of the year. And the Yankees keep pounding these home runs early in the season. First pitch from Mays, he liked what he saw. And the Yankees are in the lead.
That's the international language of hitting.
Yeah, those high sinkers go a long way. and Joe Mays actually has more success against lefties than righties, but not with that pitch.
Count 1-2 on Mondesi.
Ah, there's the old hot water bottle. That's your reward for hitting a home run. The applause is nice on a day like this, but it's a hot water bottle that really gets you going.
It is amazing how much has changed in this game, but they had hot water bottles in the 30s.
I think that bottle came from the 30s.
Two-two, just missed. Along with Jim Cotton, Bobby Mercer, I'm Michael Kay. This is the home opener at Yankee Stadium for the Yankees as they meet the Twins. It's a 3-1 Yankee lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Yankees scored their first run in the 2nd inning, a double by Posada, followed by a Mondesi single. The Twins tied it up in the top of the 4th inning. Jock Jones doubled, Torrey Hunter then doubled him in. And now the Yankees have retaken the lead here in the 4th inning. A walk by Matsui, 1 out later, a 2-run home run by that man, Robin Ventura, his 3rd of the year. Swing and a miss, took something off that, and Mondesi way out in front, 2 away.
Let's see what Joe Mays struck him out with. And actually, it was a fastball that moved back in. He has an outstanding sinker, and this is what it looks like if you're the catcher or the umpire. See that hand kind of turn over, almost like a screwball, and the ball moving back over the outside corner.
Here's Almonte, and there's a strike.
And that pitch is probably why Joe Mays has had a little trouble with his elbow. You can see all the strain it put on the elbow when he let that go.
Ground ball up the middle. Rivas backhands, off balance, throw, stretch by Mankiewicz. He got him. Beautiful defensive play by the Twins to get Almonte for the final out. but the Yankees take the lead. 2 runs on 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. That 1 hit off the bat of Robin Ventura. Long home run to right field, his 3rd home run of the year. Yankees lead 3-1. Today's quote book, and where better to go than the side of Yankee Stadium, one of the most famous quotes. I want to thank the good Lord for making me a Yankee. And the man who said that, Joe DiMaggio. And that is what we have from today's quote book, brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Lexus dealer. Top of the 5th inning, Michael Kadire leads off, and the 0-1 from Pettit. Swung on a miss. Did he go with the change there?
It looked like a cutter or breaking ball, but you can see how quickly Andy is working. Not much time between pitches. Doesn't want to keep his fielders out there in this cold weather. And that's always a good idea anyway. Work fast, throw strikes. And Andy went through a little period of time a few years ago where his motion got very, very methodical, almost a little on the lethargic side. Not anymore.
Just missed outside, and the count 2-2. Top of the 5th inning, Yankees lead 3-1. Lee Mazzilli all bundled up. I am amazed though at Almonte. Of every single player in this ball game, he is the only one without a long sleeve shirt under his uniform. I don't get it. I understand that you're warmer when you're out there playing, but he's got to be freezing. We'll test him right now. 1 away.
Yeah, maybe he played for the Vikings when Bud Grant was coaching. He didn't allow any heaters or anything like that on the pitch. I love pitching in cold weather with shirt sleeves. I mean, it made you free and easy, and it kept you moving. And like I said, I think it's just the time between innings that, we're colder up here right now than they are on the field.
Well, how come everybody else has the long sleeve shirts except for him?
Well, that's, maybe he's
Preference.
Yeah, he's had a couple of hits, right? So maybe he's superstitious.
Here's A.J. Pierzynski. Broken back, ground ball. Charging is Almonte. He bobbles the ball. That should be an E6. We'll see how they score it. It is an E6, and that's the 3rd error by Almonte. And the one thing the Yankees want from him, forget about the hitting. We just want you to field the ball until Derek Jeter comes back. And that's not a great sign right there. 3rd error so far.
Well, all he has to do is get out some video of Derek Jeter, because this is Derek Jeter's signature move, signature play. Nobody makes that play as well as Derek Jeter does. And that's what you see Eric Almonte see, try to field it off the right side and catch it, throw it. Nothing wrong with the approach, just didn't catch the ball.
I'm not so sure that the ball didn't catch the edge of the grass too. As the grass and the dirt meet, may have just sent the ball underneath his glove. Maybe he thought it was going to come up, but you're right. Derek makes that play as good as anybody I've seen.
Here's Luis Rivas.
And the way, and the reason we say that is from an authority like Don Zimmer. Is Zim, who's seen a lot of shortstops, picked up on that in Derek's 2nd year. He said, I've never seen any shortstop make that play as well as Derek Jeter. That little slow hopper. Boy, he is throwing a lot of breaking balls right now. I mean, this inning seems like he's gone almost exclusively to the cutter or the curve.
And the 2-0. Grounded. Nice stop there by Ventura. He goes to second one. On to first, double play. Around the horn. Started beautifully by Robin Ventura. Flashing some of the gold from 6 gold gloves to end the inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error. And because of the double play, nobody left on base. At the end of 4 1/2, we're halfway through. The Yankees 3 and the Twins 1.
Soriano, how much he has improved with that pivot around second base.
How many guys in the middle of a pivot of an inning double play lead off the next inning? And the 0-1 to Soriano. Grounded to short. Guzman. 1 away.
I don't know what the trivia question is today, Michael, but did you know that, well, we don't have one, so we'll give you one. There is no active major leaguer that attended Kansas or Syracuse.
Really?
Yes.
Now, you spent the whole night after the game ended last night to look that up?
No, I spent about 15 seconds listening to Mike Shankman. But there is a Kansas alumni. A dear friend of mine, former teammate, the late Bob Allison, was a tremendous running back at the University of Kansas, and actually the stadium there is named after him.
Boy, did I know that.
Yeah, he could come into second base.
I say that because in spring training one time he ran over me.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great game last night. Congratulations to Syracuse and Jim Boeheim. They become national champions. Three's a charm for Boeheim, his third time in the championship game. There's the 1-1 to Nick. Line drive to center field, a base hit. He is now 2 for 3, Nick Johnson. And that'll bring up Giambi. Fans, you're not going to want to miss a great promotion on Wednesday night. The Yankees host the Twins. That's tomorrow, and the first 18,000 fans in attendance are going to receive a Paul O'Neill bobblehead doll courtesy of Hormel. Tickets are going very fast, so please act now for your opportunity to get this bobblehead doll. Visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops. Call Ticketmaster at 212-307-1212, or if you have a computer, simply log on to Yankees.com.
And what makes that bobblehead dial so significant is the fact that that bobblehead dial is a smiling Paul O'Neill bobblehead doll.
Line drive, base hit by Jason Giambi to left center field. Nick Johnson going to go for third. Hunter comes up throwing. The throw is wide. That allows Giambi to go to second. Bad play by Torrey Hunter. Yankees are set up.
Well, the all-star on this ball club defensively is Torrey Hunter in center field. They represented Minnesota. They've got two of the best outfielders in all of baseball. Jock Jones in left field, Torrey Hunter in center field. This could have something to do with the cold weather today. He comes up with it. Slippery fingers. He's been standing out there, and he throws it wide. And Johnson, with that move going from first to third, maybe made him hurry the throw, too. So you got to give Johnson a lot of credit.
Well, they're going to intentionally walk Bernie Williams to load the bases to pitch to Hideki Matsui.
Couldn't this be a moment in Yankee history? The base is loaded. Back to that play quickly. Great base running by Nick Johnson, forcing the throw. And you're right, it's very difficult to get a good grip on the ball, as you know from playing the outfield in cold weather. Well, this guy with his rock star persona would not be surprising to see him do something special right now with the bases loaded.
And listen to the crowd for Hideki Matsui. They have received Matsui very warmly on this cold opening day at Yankee Stadium. And now he comes up with the bases loaded and 1 out in the 5th inning. Nick Johnson's at third, Giambi's at second, Bernie Williams intentionally walked is at first, and here's Matsui 0 for 1. A walk and a run scored and a nice defensive play in left center field. The crowd chanting Matsui. There's a strike.
Well, the one thing that Joe wanted Matsui to do is not to try to do too much. I mean, he was getting all this big buildup here in America after hitting the 50 home runs. He wanted him to just try to relax, play ball, and not try to do a whole lot. Not try to overdo it for one thing.
Despite his experience in Japan, you would think that his heart is beating through his chest right now. Excitement surging through him. Anticipation, the challenge of having the bases intentionally walked to face you. Two and one. .50 home runs last year in Japan. 3-time MVP. Nubs it foul up the third baseline. Count is level at 2-2.
may not have seen a pitcher in Japan with this kind of movement on it. I mean, Joe Mays has tremendous movement on his fastball. You can see him kind of pulling off the ball, and one of Matsui's strengths is to go the other way, and that's what a pitcher like Mays is going to force him to do, is take the ball toward left center, not try to pull it.
You know, Jim, from what I remember early when we started up at Toronto, the Yankees opening up there, he didn't pull away like he's been pulling away for the last 3 or 4 games. Maybe pulling away because he's trying to hit a home run. He was very solid at home plate and looking for the ball out over the middle and away to try to take it the opposite way and not pulling off the ball.
And the 2-2. He has worked the count full. Well, Mays has to throw him a pitch over the plate, otherwise he walks in a run. Posada is on deck. Yankees lead 3-1. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Action in the Twins bullpen. That one's hit deep to right field. Going back, Kadire looking up. See ya! A grand slam for Hideki Matsui. And the Yankees lead 7-1. What an introduction to Yankee Stadium. His first home run, his first grand slam, his first curtain call. Think he has a flair for the dramatic? Posada pops one up. Shallow center field. Coming on is Hunter. 2 away.
And I tell you what, it's cold enough so you got goosebumps, but this just doubled him. Wow, this was some moment.
And you know what? I think it's his first intentional walk to get the Matsui.
That'll be his last.
How many times did they do that in Japan?
You know, guys, you don't become great by accident. He had greatness in Japan, and greatness means that you come up big in big situations, and the stage is set, the tableau is perfect, and here he hits a grand slam after he intentionally walked a batter in front of him, his first game at Yankee Stadium, and it really doesn't get more dramatic than that. There's a fly ball to left center field. Coming on is Jones. He'll put it away, and that will do it, but not before the Yankees score 4 runs on 3 hits, and the big blow, a grand slam by Hideki Matsui. What a way to break in. Yankees lead 7-1. Going to need any coffee in Japan at 6:52 in the morning on Wednesday. This is what they saw. A grand slam by their king, Hideki Matsui, and all of Japan watching that swing.
Coffee at all the coffee shops in Japan, they don't have any coffee anymore. They spilled it as they came up out of their seat. Well, that grand slam, it's all over the floor right now.
There's Jock Jones. Inside when Matsui took left field, he got a hero's welcome by the people out in those seats. Listen up. Count 1-1. What a feeling. What a moment.
I tell you, one of my favorite parts of that whole scenario was that when he hit it, it's like, hey, I've done this before. You didn't see any fist pumping or any surprise. He said, I've done this before. No big deal.
Ichiro really burst on the scene. Rookie of the Year, MVP. Just did a great job for the Mariners. And everything you hear about Matsui is that Matsui is a better player than Ichiro. Now, the Yankees can only hope, because Ichiro has really made an impact in the American League. But if he's better than Ichiro was in Japan, maybe it translates that he's better than him here.
I don't know that he's going to be better than Ichiro. They say Ichiro with power. To me, Ichiro's the best outfield in the American League. And whether Matsui's going to be in that class, I don't know, but he has more power than Ichiro.
Well, they're two different type hitters, for one thing. Power hitter is Matsui. Ichiro is not a power hitter. He uses his speed to get on base and to hit for a high average. I mean, Ichiro is one of those guys that slaps the ball down and beats the ball out at first base. If Ichiro wanted to hit the ball out of the ballpark, I think he certainly has the power to do that. But two different type of hitters.
Well, we mentioned at the start of the game that Matsui legitimately paralleled to Jordan here in this country what he is in Japan. An absolute mega superstar. That pitch is outside, so Jones walks. And you know, we were kidding lightly, but opening night when the Yankees opened in Toronto, an 8 o'clock start meant it was 9 in the morning in Japan, and 10 million people watched that game. 10 million people. And every single one of those cameras out of the camera box on the first base side is pointed toward left field. They don't care about the rest of the game. They are chronicling every single move that Hideki Matsui makes. And wouldn't you agree, guys, with that one swing he did better than the other Yankee Hideki?
Well, I tell you what, with that one swing, he did what it took Jason Giambi about a month to do last year when he hit his famous grand slam through the raindrops.
I would be surprised if that other Hideki didn't see that grand slam in Japan.
He is back in Japan, Bob.
Yes,
he's playing
he
in the
is.
Japanese league. He might have. But knowing that Hideki, he's not up at 6:30 in the morning.
He may be.
1-1. So the Yankees lead 7-1. Forget about the dramatics of the home run. It means a lot in the outcome of the game. Gives Andy Pettitte some breathing room. He has a 6-run lead here in the top of the 6th inning on a very cold day at Yankee Stadium.
Now Andy Pettitte losing a little bit of his command. 11 pitches this inning, only 3 strikes. Boy, after your team has put 4 on the board, that next inning, your goal usually is to be as aggressive as you can, throw strikes, make the other team put the ball in play.
He's thrown 76 pitches so far. A little bit low. Now let me ask you a question. With the excitement of that moment, can that unnerve a pitcher? Not a bad way, but
no, I don't think it has anything to do with unnerving him, but because the Yankees were at the plate for a while, it might just be that time in the game when Andy Pettitte's arm is stiffening up a little bit because of the weather. And you'll see Joe Torre with Mel going to the mound making the call right now. This has been the pattern of the Yankees game so far. They get a lot of runs. The starting pitchers give them 5 or 6, and this will probably be no different as to how effective will the bullpen be when they come in.
well, Mel Stoudemire has his say. There's some stirring in the Yankee bullpen right now. Sterling Hitchcock is the only Yankee without a warm-up on. Nobody has begun to throw at this point. Now a right-hander starts to throw on the lower level of the Yankee bullpen. Here's Corey Koski with runners on first and second. Nobody out. Yankees have that set play where Nick Johnson playing behind the runner darts in. It's a timing play. Didn't work there. Antonio Osuna is the Yankee warming in their bullpen right now. Right-hander acquired from the White Sox in the 3-way deal for Orlando Hernandez.
Besides all the pitches that Pettitte has to get you out at the plate, he has another huge weapon. As we see Osuna warming up, he has another weapon to get you out, is pick you off at first base.
Jock Jones is at first. Christian Guzman is, or Jock Jones at second. Guzman is at first. Top of the 6th. 7-1 Yankee lead. Grounded foul.
Well, we're talking about the most pickoffs since 1995. That other weapon that Andy Pettitte has. 67, and Kenny Rogers, who has joined now the Minnesota Twins this year as a free agent, with 48. Well, we get a chance to see Rogers, I don't think, in this 3-game series.
No.
Fouled away. Well, tomorrow's starter is Kyle Loesch, and after that, Rick Reed. So we will see those two for the Twins.
Twins signed Kenny Rogers as some insurance because they're not optimistic about Eric Milton being back at all this season. There's some possibility he might get back in September for a few games, but they have Kenny Rogers. They're hoping he'll be a little insurance policy with Milton missing.
79 pitches for Pettit, 48 strikes, 31 balls. He usually has a better ratio than that. And the 0-2. Grounded softly to second. They have one play, and he makes it at second for the first out of the inning. So he gets the lead runner, at least on the first base situation. Now runners on the corners with one out. Hey, tomorrow night on Yes, the Yankees take on the Twins in Game 2 of this series. Complete coverage begins at 6:30 with Fred Hickman, Susan Waldman, and the New York Yankees pregame. Then join Jim Cott and me as we call all the action beginning at 7 p.m. Twins against the Yankees tomorrow night starting at 6:30 only on Yes. Here's Torrey Hunter. Runners on the corners with one out. Driven deep to center field. Going back, Bernie Williams. Still back, still back, still back. Reaches up and he makes the play. Oh, what a play by Bernie Williams. Tagging is Jones. He'll score. A long sac fly for Torrey Hunter, and the Yankee lead is now 7-2.
Andy Pettit will take that trade, Bobby.
How many times do walks come around and score for you or against you? We saw Bernie has made many fine plays already early in this year, besides having the great start offensively. Gold Glover, 3-time Gold Glover for the Yankees in center field. Matsui will watch Bernie in the outfield. He'll learn a whole lot.
Here's Matthew LeCroy, and the first pitch is a strike. That pitch gets away from Posada. Looks like he was crossed up. That could be a pass ball. Moving to second is Corey Koski. And that's how it scored. Pass ball.
Might be getting to that time in the game where Andy Pettit, let's see, was this supposed to be a cutter and it moved back away from him? You know, each inning in weather like this, your arm, it gets a little tight. Almost feels like it's getting shorter. It gets a little tighter. That actually looked like it had cutter spin, but it backed up, and I think that's what fooled Posada, and I would expect this would be Andy's last inning.
Now, is the fatigue exacerbated because of the cold?
I don't think it's the fatigue. I think it's just the inability to grip the ball as well, and the fact that your arm just is not as loose and flexible as it was at the start of the game.
And the 1-2. Grounded up the middle. Almonte dives. He can't get there. That's an RBI single. Coming around to score is Koski. So LeCroy with a single, and the Twins still in this one. Yankees lead 7-3.
Well, I thought when the ball came off the bat that it was a very catchable play up the middle, and maybe Almonte just didn't get a good jump on it. He may have been playing a little bit deeper in the hole at short. Nevertheless, it was placed perfectly, and it ended up as an RBI single.
Bell's trying to nurse Andy through this inning, and then he'll go to the bullpen for the final three. Yankee bullpen has been a little shaky over the first week. Here's Doug Mankiewicz. That one's hit deep to right field, but foul. A little bit too quick. The count 0-1. And the 0-1. There's a strike. Along with Jim Cott and Bobby Mercer, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball on CBS 2. It's the home opener of the 100th anniversary season of the Yankees. Yankees lead 7-3. The most dramatic moment in this game, a grand slam by that man, Hideki Matsui. That was line to center field. Bernie Williams coming, still coming. He can't get there. He'll have to play it on a hop. So a base hit for Mankiewicz as LeCroy moves to second. See how long Joe goes with Andy Pettitte.
Well, again, we mentioned the Twins have a surplus of good outfielders. This is not hit particularly well, but right in front of Bernie. So if Joe were to make a move right now, and he's going to, the Twins have Bobby Kielty on their bench, who's an outstanding hitter from the left side.
Well, this is the second trip to the mound. Mel took one, so Joe obviously is going to hook Andy and bring in Antonio Osuna. Andy will get a nice hand. He leaves the Yankees in a little bit of a precarious position, though. First and second with 2 outs. Listen to the hand from the Yankee Stadium crowd. Well, after the dramatics of the Hideki Matsui home run, it seemed like the rest of the game was somewhat anticlimactic, but the Twins are not allowing it to be. They strike against Andy Pettitte for 2 runs in the 6th inning, threatening for more, and Joe Torre brings in Antonio Osuna.
Well, Michael, you know, the bullpen for the Yankees got to be a little bit of a concern right now, simply because of Mariano Rivera not being here. Carsey is not coming along like they would hope he would do. Osuna, Acevedo, everybody in the bullpen kind of pitching out of you know, what Joe Torre had set and designed it to be. Osuna and Acevedo and the rest of the crew down there just seem like that they're just not really comfortable yet. He had 11 saves for the Chicago White Sox last year, so obviously he's got the stuff to do it. We'll hope he does it here.
Here's a pitch to Kadire, and it's off the glove of Posada, and that will allow the runners to move up. That'll be another pass ball for Posada, because that ball was eminently catchable. I don't know if he was crossed up, but he's going and talking with Osuna now.
Let's watch Posada's glove. No, I don't think it was crossed up. I think it's called a wild pitch. I just think it's one of those where a catcher thinks, well, this guy's a low ball pitcher. The ball's going to be down around the knees, and it took off up and in.
Bill Shannon, the official scorer here at the stadium today, scores that a wild pitch, somewhat questionable. The 1-0, foul back. Jim, as a pitcher, do you think that was a wild pitch?
Well, most of the time, if it hits the dirt, right, it is. But no, I wouldn't think that was a wild pitch. I just think it was a late reaction by Posada.
A single now makes it 7-5. 1-1. Missed outside.
Strike zone has been a little tight all day today.
Gary Cederstrom behind the plate as Andy will watch the end of the inning from the bench. Swing and a miss, and the count 2-2.
Kadire 0 for 2 today. He's hitting only 188, looking for his first home run, but he was a 20-plus home run guy in the minor leagues. And the Twins needing that power from the right side gives Kadire a chance to play.
Count goes full at 3-2. That one just missed.
I think it also says something about Gardenhire and how he wants to use Kadire. I mean, he has all the tools over on the bench if he wanted to make a move here, but felt like it wasn't the right time.
There's an example of that close pitch. See, Posada caught it low, but from a side angle, I'll guarantee you that pitch was across the knees.
Swung on and missed. He struck him out. Pitch diving down and away. So Osuna comes on and gets out of further trouble. Well, for the Twins, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left after 5.5. 7-3 Yankees lead. All things are right at Yankee Stadium when Bob Shepard is giving the lineups. It's been that way since 1951, and it was that way again. This is the first lineup that Shepard ever introduced. April 17, 1951 at Yankee Stadium. Some pretty nice names he got to call out.
I got a chance to meet Johnny Big Cat Mize one time, and I'll tell you what, he's got the biggest hands I have ever in my life seen. When I shook hands with him, he just engulfed me. And I asked him about what kind of bat he used. You know, what was the ounce of bat? And I think it was like almost a 40-ounce bat. I mean, it was a huge
right
thing.
Fielder,
He's the only guy who can handle that.
Mondesi.
Elegant, classy, and he is as much a part of Yankee Stadium as the facade and the retired numbers, and he has a plaque out of Monument Park out in left center field, and boy, does he deserve it. He is the voice of Yankee Stadium, and it's always great to see him. No different today. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, 7-3, Yankees lead. Tony Fiore comes on in relief of Joe Mays. So they hold Joe Mays to 5 innings again, and Fiore faces Mondesi. Fouled off.
Fiore's one of those guys that can be effective. He comes in, Ron Gardenhire looking for an inning or two from him, so each hitter might see him one time, and he's got a very kind of a funky, deceptive motion, a little bit of a hesitation in it, and he does a good job of hiding the ball.
Up and in, the count 2-1.
A lot of managers don't want certain pitchers to face guys the second time around. They only want them to face one time.
Gardenhire took over for Tom Kelly. Kelly, the Twins manager, for 2 World Series. Nice play there by Koski as he olays it again. 1 down here in the 6th. Hey, don't miss the next CBS 2 Yankees game when the Bombers meet Tampa Bay right here at the stadium. Be there, Yankees in the Devil Race, Friday night at 7, right here on CBS 2, the official broadcast home of the New York Yankees.
Yeah, actually, if you don't even follow the game that closely, one of the enjoyable shows when the Devil Rays meet the Yankees is seeing the reaction of former Yankee Lou Piniella. Bobby, you know Lou's used to having some good ball clubs there in Seattle. Things not going too well in Tampa Bay, and he's having a hard time, I think, accepting the fact that he's not going to win 100 games this year. They might lose 100.
And it's early.
Yeah, right.
That's the bad part.
There's Almonte in the 0-1. Breaking ball. I'll tell you what, Bobby. He aged a lot from Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
He's living and dying with every inning, and that's not a good team. It's a bad way to go with that team.
I watched the games on television, and he didn't smile one time. In fact, he was either teaching or griping at somebody the whole game.
Absolutely. Almonte goes down on strikes. By the way, incidentally, we'd like to tell you that Derek Jeter yesterday went to see Dr. James Andrews in Birmingham, Alabama. And Dr. James Andrews confirmed the Yankees' initial diagnosis that this dislocated left shoulder should be treated conservatively without any intrusion of surgery, and that Jeter could be back in about a month. So that is good news, and Eric Almonte will be filling that position most of the time until Jeter gets back. Here's Soriano. That one's hit deep to left field. Going back, Jones. He's there, and he puts it away for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning for Tony Fiore and the Twins. We played 6 full here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and the Yankees lead the Twins 7-3 on the home opener. The 7th inning, chilly Yankee Stadium for the home opener. Yankees lead 7-3. A.J. Brzezinski will lead off against Antonio Osuna, came on to get the final out of the 6th inning in relief of Andy Pettitte. And there's a strike.
You being kind with that chili, Michael. It's downright cold.
Raw. Right. It's raw. Artie fans. Fouled away. Time for the Ford game summary, brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store with the best-selling vehicles in America. 3-5-1 for the Twins, 7-8-1 for the Yankees. Highlight Matsui, a grand slam in the 5th, his first major league home run. Kind of dwarfs Robin Ventura's 2-run home run. And the starters Mays and Pettitte. And Pettitte got into the 6th. Mays went 5 innings, and then he was done. They are both right now the pitchers of record, and he is the star of record, Hideki Matsui. lost amidst the excitement of the home run. He has now hit safely in all 7 games as a Yankee, so he picks up his base hits. His debut could not have gone better. That kid could say I was there.
Good day for a sucker, I tell you that.
1-2. Foul back. Brzezinski's 0 for 2. He flied to center and reached on an E6 by Eric Almonte. Still 1-2.
I thought they cut those pads down. That pad on Brzezinski's right arm looks pretty big. It's like almost a shin guard.
You know, Bobby, you hear all these proclamations what they're going to do. They're not going to allow the players to wear pants low.
Yeah.
That's has not been enforced at all. The arm, the elbow guard, that hasn't been enforced. The one thing that they have been doing, though, is the umpires are keeping it tight between innings. They're not letting it go much further than it's supposed to. And that's speeding up the game just a bit. But all these other proclamations, they don't enforce them.
Every year in spring training, the umpires go around directed by Major League Baseball. It used to be the league office, now it's the commissioner's office. And there's always a number. Hey, we're going to call a lot of balks this year. You got to step to first. But hey, we're going to call the low strike this year. You know, anything around the knees now, and the season starts. Same old, same old. I mean, particularly today with the knee-high strike, there have been a ton of them. They haven't been called.
And another thing they said they were going to do this year, you can't step out. We just saw Brzezinski step out. The pitchers have to throw the ball within 20 seconds. None of this is being enforced. It's like a waste of breath. 2-2. Just missed.
Yeah.
So Osuna thought he had that one.
Wow. Actually, I think it's 12 seconds this year the pitcher has to deliver the ball. Here's the pitch from Osuna. I don't know where that was. I mean, it wasn't low. So if it was outside, it was a ball, but it certainly wasn't low.
Bobby Kitty would have had no problem with that 12-second rule, right?
Shoot, he would have a problem with 2 seconds. In fact, that's what his time was in between pitches, about 2 seconds.
Study long, you study wrong. If I thought more than that, I'd be in trouble.
3-2 pitch. Hanging in there is Brzezinski. You know, it's amazing. You hear about these guys that play in Minneapolis.
Hey.
Look at you. Glad and before all bundled up. You guys played in cold weather.
I'm wimpy. You're there. You got no hat on, you and Bobby, but that's what happens when you get old.
But you look good. That is a good look at another Minnesota guy.
Wrench is going, man. He was pumped up today.
Right back to Osuna. Nice play. One away. Took a single away from Brzezinski.
Well, Brzezinski was mad. I mean, he battled Osuna, fouling good pitches away, and finally hit one up the middle. Osuna made a good play on him, took the base hit away.
Excellent position. You see when Osuna square to the plate, in position to get his glove down and field that ball. Yeah, important innings, because even though the Yankees have scored a lot of runs and had big leads, the bullpen has been leaking a little oil there the last couple innings.
Rivas grounds one up the middle, moving to his left, Almonte. 2-away. Hey fans, a longtime Yankee Stadium tradition continues this Sunday when the Yankees host Tampa Bay. It's Cap Day. All fans in attendance are going to receive a Yankees cap courtesy of Empire Blue Cross Blue Shield. Tickets are going very fast, so please act now. Visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops. You can call Ticketmaster at 212-307-1212 or simply log on to Yankees.com. Good looking lid. Midnight blue with the white interlocking NY on the front. They're all over the stadium. Didn't even take the tag off. That's also very cool now. Did you know that, Bobby? It's a mini pearl look. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you wear the tag on the hat after you buy it.
I thought that was big in Tennessee. I didn't know it was big here in New York.
Oh, it's huge.
Plus, if you don't like it, you can return it.
Exactly. Oh, it had that sweat stain. I don't know.
You know what I saw a couple of weeks ago? I mean, I've seen the Yankee cap and a lot of caps at all kinds of different colors, but I actually saw a pink one with a white NY that a young lady was wearing.
Really?
Yes. Very stylish.
Interlocking NY, one of the most famous symbols in sports. The 0-2 is outside.
Osuna, relative, well, all the Yankee bullpen pitchers are newcomers this year. No one from last year is on the active roster. There's the 100th anniversary logo on the left side of the cap. Little light rain snow beginning to come down, but Osuna was a potential closer for years.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And that will do it. A 1-2-3 inning for Antonio Osuna at the end of 6.5. Get up and stretch. Yankees lead 7-3. And while you're standing, why don't you listen to Bob Shepard, the voice of Yankee Stadium, as he leads us to God Bless America.
To the men and women of Atlas. Let us also remember those servicemen and women who have lost their lives defending our freedom and our way of life. Please direct your attention now to the microphone behind home plate and welcome world-renowned Irish tenor Ronan Tynan. He will sing God Bless America.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her, guide her through the night with the light from the mountains to the prairies to the ocean, white with
Joins with Ronan Tynan. The goosebumps are not from the weather. We'll be back. Toyota. By Fleet Bank, the solutions, the tools, and the guidance so you can move forward with life. By Dunkin' Donuts. Stop by Dunkin' Donuts for a delicious breakfast sandwich. And by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Lexus dealer. On a raw Tuesday afternoon, now evening in New York City, the Yankees home opener. Yankees lead 7-3 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. San is carrying strikeouts today, and the pitch from Tony Fiore is high to Nick Johnson. Andy Pettitte started for the Yankees. A lot of snow out in Monument Park. 5 inches fell yesterday, and the home opener was canceled and postponed until today yesterday. And the grounds crew did an unbelievable job working all night without a rest, and the field is in perfect condition. And you know what? Yankee Stadium is as well. Yankees lead 7-3. The big blow, Hideki Matsui's grand slam, his first Yankee home run.
I don't know of any ground crew anywhere in baseball that could have done what Dan Cunningham and his crew did here. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think after what I saw yesterday that they could play this game today. And you wouldn't even know that it even snowed yesterday around Yankee Stadium.
It really is amazing. They did an unbelievable job. Help from the people at Giant Stadium. They borrowed the Giant Stadium tarp, and that allowed them to cover the outfield. So the field is in outstanding condition. The 3-1 to Johnson is high. Bobby, do you know what happened 22 years ago today, this very inning on April 9th, 22 years ago today?
No.
The same thing is what happened with Hideki Matsui. Why don't we take a look?
And a high fly. Deep to right. Holy cow, a grand slam pitch hit home run.
Minding my own business, and the stick. Gene Michael says go up and hit with the bases loaded.
You did.
I did. Who knows what happened there? I don't know. Charlie Lau would have been happy with that as a one-handed release.
Yeah, there was a Minnesota connection there too, even though I think it was against Texas.
It was against Texas.
But the pitcher, remember who you hit it on?
I think it was Coomer, wasn't it?
Steve Comer.
Steve Comer, that's right.
From Minnesota, the Minnetonka, Minnesota pitcher.
Here's Jason Giambi. Hey, by the way, I want to say, Jim, you weren't there. Yankee welcome home dinner yesterday at the Sheraton, and Bobby Mercer received the Pride of the Yankee Award. And I got to tell you, it was one of the most beautiful speeches I have ever heard. People in the audience were tearing up. I know Bobby got choked up a little bit as well. Bobby, that was one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen at that dinner in all the years I've gone.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. It was a tremendous thrill for me. And I tell you what, to be in the presence of everybody that was there last night and to know the history of this organization, have been around here for so many years, and to be around the players, the coaches, Joe Torre and Mr. Steinbrenner was there along with his family. It was just an overwhelming experience for me. I mean, I was truly touched. And during the dinner, I mean, they raised $800,000 for great charities here in New York and the Yankee Foundation.
Well, congratulations on the award. It's well deserved.
Thank you very much.
That's foul back. Giambi today is 1 for 3. Fly to right, fly to center, single to center, and scored a run. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Giambi down on strikes. 1 away.
How about that, Bobby? I mean, you played with so many Yankee teams that were great hitting teams. Let Michael tell you about Tales of the Babe first.
Yeah, they've actually found somebody that played with Babe Ruth. And
well, it's Bobby, isn't it?
Is it? Really? Wow. Well, Bobby's going to tell Tales of the Babe then on CBS 2 News right after the game.
I can tell you what Pete Sheehy told me about it.
Yeah, right. Pete Sheehy, the longtime equipment manager of the Yankees, clubhouse named after Big Pete.
There's a fly ball to center field. Converging Hunter and Jones. Jones makes the call on the catch, 2 away.
I was going to mention, though, Bobby, the great hitting teams you've played on. This is going to be a special moment right here.
Hideki Matsui.
It took him exactly 5 innings to become a fan favorite.
They're playing that Godzilla song.
If you joined us late, well, you missed a lot. In the 5th inning, they intentionally walked Bernie Williams to load the bases and get to Matsui. And Matsui on a 3-2 pitch hit a grand slam into the bleachers, his first Yankee home run. Those are other Yankees that their first home run happened to be a grand slam. There's a ground ball to second base. Rivas with a nice play. The long throw to first. Just got him.
Wow.
Matsui hustling down the line, but a nice play by Rivas just nailed him. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. At the end of 7, Yankees 7 and the Twins 3. Yankee Stadium opened on April 18th in 1923, and it was the house that Ruth built. And on that day, 74,200 people at Yankee Stadium. Yankees against the Red Sox and Babe Ruth. It had to be him. He christened the stadium with a home run, and this man, bigger than life, really saved baseball through the Depression, put up these big home run numbers, and this is what he begot. Guzman slots 1 foul.
I was going to say that Pete Sheehy, the long-standing clubhouse guy here, in fact, the clubhouse is named after Pete Sheehy, and he was always telling stories. He never wrote a book. I mean, he had more stories. He knew more about players than anybody that's ever come through this historical site here. But never wrote a book. Took every story with him to his grave. But he did tell me about Babe. And he said, Miller Huggins. He said, I was only a young guy when I first started working here at Yankee Stadium. And he said, the Babe always told me, he said, look, young man, he said, I want my hot dog in the 2nd inning and I want my hot dog in the 7th inning. He said, I'd get him a hot dog, he'd eat it really fast in the 2nd inning, and then I'd have a hot dog for him in the 7th inning. So one time Miller Huggins came to me, he said, look, Pete, what in the world are you doing? You know how this gives Babe agita, and I can't have the Babe with an upset stomach out there playing. And he said, if you ever give the Babe another hot dog, he said, you're out of here and you won't be back in here. So
swing and a miss, and Guzman goes down on strikes.
So the next day, the Babe comes to him and said, Pete, I want my hot dog in the 2nd. He said, I can't. He said, Miller Huggins told me that I can't do it. He said, he'll throw it. He said, look, I don't care how you do it, but I want my hot dog. He said he had to have his hot dog in the 2nd inning, and he had to have his hot dog in the 7th inning, and then he had 2 bromos in between. He said it gave him the worst agita that you could.
So how did Big Pete get him to him?
He's found a way to stick it to the Babe. Oh, yeah. And kept his job at the same time.
Superstitious. There's the plaque in memory of
wonderful
the late,
wonderful
great
man.
Pete Sheehy. Fun sitting down listening to his stories. Some of the Babe's hot dogs. Remember how Pete used to like to sneak up behind you, stick a ball in your pocket all the time?
Yeah. Or put a hanger on you.
Right. Put a hanger in your back pocket.
I know when I first came here, Pete left a little note in my locker. It said, Mr. Lion wants you to give him a call. You know, that was
called the zoo.
Called the zoo.
Yeah. They had all the tricks. I remember one where a player came in and it had a thing on his little slip of paper on his stool, phone message on his clubhouse stool. Call Mr. D.E.E. Mollish, M-O-L-L-I-S-H, for a personal appearance. He got like Joe's Body Shop or something. But that's the kind of tricks. I mean, Pete was wonderful to talk to, and you're right. Those the equipment managers that have been around for years, they could write books that would make ball 4 look like Ned in the first reader.
I mean, you know, Pete was here when Garrick was here, and Babe, and Joe D, and Mickey, and I mean, there just hasn't hardly been anybody that's come through this historical ground that Pete Sheehy didn't know.
And they are some of the most trusted individuals.
You can tell them anything, and they knew everything. But what was heard and said in the clubhouse stayed in the clubhouse.
3-2 has popped up left side. Let's see if it stays in play. Ventura near the seats. He leans in. He makes the play. 2 away.
I mentioned last inning that Osuna was a potential closer. When he came up with the Dodgers, there was all that talk about back in 1991. I mean, this guy had some impressive stats coming out of the minor leagues, like 60 innings and about 30 hits and more than a strikeout an inning, outstanding fastball and a changeup. But he has had injuries almost every year. Elbow problems.
Here's Torrey Hunter, and the pitch is high. He used to throw very fast.
Yeah. Still gets it up there, and then to left-hand hitters, he has that nice little turnover changeup that goes down and away.
Yeah, he kind of grips that. Mel was telling me he grips it a little unusual with only 2 fingers.
Given out to right field, giving chase is Mondesi into the corner, and that'll go foul.
We've talked about how more difficult it is to catch a fly ball or a line drive on the corners in the outfield. It's much easier in center field, and this is one of the reasons, because that ball that was hit by Hunter, you saw how it kept moving away from Mondesi. It had that spin going away from him. When you're looking at it from center field, the ball that's normally hit to you is hit straight on. You don't get that little curving action that you get both from right and left field.
There's that fastball up and in, the count 2-1. Top of the 8th inning at the stadium. Yankees lead 7-3. Yankees won 5 out of 6 on their opening road trip, 3 in a row in Toronto, and then 2 out of 3 at Tampa Bay. And now the start of a fairly long homestand. Jason Anderson begins to warm.
Wow.
Joe Torre likes to do that. Get some of the butterflies out by putting the guy on the biggest stage. I don't know if Jason will be coming in a 7-3 game, though.
Yeah. Maybe he's just getting a little throwing in.
Osuna overthrows and Torrey Hunter walks.
Osuna had 11 saves last year with the White Sox. That was his career high, and this is a little time-buying visit by Mel Stottlemyre to give Jason Anderson more time, and perhaps Contreras or Acevedo will join him.
You bring up Jose Contreras. We talked about the bullpen and how it's kind of out of kilter at this particular time, but Contreras has started most of his career, but he's never pitched, according to Mel, and I asked him this afternoon, he's never pitched in weather like this.
Really?
Of course, he comes from Cuba, and it's never been cold when he's pitched.
Should be interesting to see how he reacts. Well, Wednesday on CBS 2, don't miss the all-new Star Search. Catch tomorrow's superstars when they perform live on stage and vote for your favorites. Join Arsenio Hall for the all-new Star Search live Wednesday. Here's Matt LeCroy.
You know, Kitty, when I look at you, I see somebody else. I don't see you all bundled up like that.
There's a strike to LeCroy. Hammond joins Anderson.
I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way.
Even if you do, I can handle it.
How do you hear through the earphones through the hood?
Michael, I could hear you anywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Loud and clear.
That's a beautiful Christmas story. The 0-1 is outside. It actually feels, and according to the temperature, it feels a little bit warmer than it did at the start, which you would figure since it goes into nighttime. But we started at 36. It's 37
You
now.
think it might be those heaters up above you?
Yeah, they were on before.
I got stuck in the middle, and that's the only place there's not a heater. Thanks a lot.
High fly ball to left field. Matsui. And that'll do it in the 8th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning at Yankee Stadium. It's the Yankees 7 and the Twins 3.
From yesterday, from 5 a.m. to today. And they're still not through. They'll be working on this field late into the night tonight to get it ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, because the weather forecast for tomorrow is not too good. No snow, but maybe rain.
Here's Posada. And the pitch is high.
I called this morning just to check on the condition. I mean, because the Yankees wanted to call the game early if they weren't going to play, not inconvenience the fans.
That one's a fly ball to right field. Kadire is right there. One away. The crowd, by the way, that they didn't want to inconvenience was announced 33,109, and obviously because of the weather and the people that had tickets for opening day had planned on Monday, and maybe they couldn't get out of work today, so 33,109, which if you think about it is an incredible crowd under these conditions.
And the fans that have stuck it out, it's terrific. Yeah, when I called, they said, oh, the ground crew's been working all night to get the field dry.
My hat's off to the fans for sure. And the Yankee fans here in New York are the greatest fans in the world. They love their baseball. They know their baseball, and they know when a player in the pinstripes is doing their best.
I mentioned maybe some of the great hitting teams that you've been on in the past, and I think the impressive thing about this ball club early on, they are scoring a run per inning. This might be the year in the team that we see saying that you never have enough pitching.
That is fisted into left field, a base hit for Robin Ventura, his second of the day, at a 2-run home run, so he is 2 for 4.
That you can actually pitch average during the year and just outscore people. I mean, this team could average 8 or 9 runs a game. Of course, they haven't run into Pedro Martinez yet, or pitchers of that caliber.
I don't know. You look up and down this lineup, there's not an easy out in the lineup.
Well, as Ron Gardenhire, the Twins manager, said today, when you've got Mondesi, who is off to a great start and potentially a run producer, you know, here was a guy that he was traded for Sean Green.
Yeah.
He's a guy that was a number 4, number 3 or 5 hitter run producer. He's hitting 8th.
Well, you are right about that run and inning, Kitty. 61 runs and 61 in a third innings, and that's what the Yankees have done so far in their 6+ games. Here's Mondesi. Foul back.
Just in case Joe wanted to make a move. I mean, he's got Todd Zeal. He's got Enrique Wilson. He's got Flaherty on the bench. He's got Bubba Trammell that they picked up that gives him a good right-handed bat.
Chris Latham.
A switch hitter.
Yori keeping it away from Mondesi. Mondesi drove in the Yankees' first run, a hot shot past Corey Koski in the second. He's 1 for 3. Rick Down, the hitting coach, loves that 1 run per inning average. And there's a ground ball short. Let's see if it's 2. There's 1. Not in time. Mondesi, who has been hustling every single game on every single ground ball, beats out that relay throw.
Boy, and that's a great example of it, Michael, because Guzman and Rivas, they turned this double play as slick as you can. Let's check them out of the box. Quick release, nice pivot. And that hustling out of the box got him the call at first base. Very close.
Joe Torre said over the weekend in Tampa Bay, said, that doesn't surprise me. He said, you heard about things about Mondesi, maybe late for meetings or whatever. He said, every time I ever watched him play, he always hustled. And that was one of the reasons I was behind acquiring him. The hustle does not surprise me at all. He's always done that every single game I've ever seen him as an opponent. Mondesi leads off first. He goes, and the pitch is fouled back. Yankees starting the runner. A lot of motivation for Mondesi. He reads the papers. He watches Sports Center. He knows that over the winter he was at the center of a lot of trade talks. Did the Yankees want to get rid of him? Who would eat part of the salary? This and that. This is the last year of his contract, so Mondesi has plenty of incentive to do well.
He also was saying last year that this was going to be his last year. He didn't want to play. He was thinking about retiring. And now I noticed a couple of comments in spring training that, well, we'll just see what happens after the year is over with.
He goes again. Pitch is high. The throw to second is in plenty of time. Nice throw by A.J. Przinsky to now Mondesi on a 2-4 caught stealing. No runs a hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. We've played 8 full innings at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Last licks for the Twins. Yankees lead 7-3 on the home opener.
Verizon proudly sponsors Yankee baseball on CBS 2. From today's home opener and throughout the season, Verizon. Make progress every day. CBS 2, official broadcast home of the Yankees.
Well, it's time to take a look at today's play of the game, brought to you by Continental Airlines, and I guess we don't have to dig that deep to find a play of this game. Fifth inning, Hideki Matsui, his first hit here at Yankee Stadium, his first Major League home run, a grand slam, his first curtain call, and he became a Yankee with that swing. The play of the game brought to you by Continental Airlines. Continental, work hard, fly right. Shocking. I'm a little bit shocked right now. Top of the 9th inning, the Yankees only have a 4-run lead, and Joe Torre brings in Jason Anderson.
Yeah, this is a courageous move. He earned the spot in spring training with his ability to throw strikes. He came in opening night in Toronto. He still hasn't gotten anybody out in the major leagues.
Gave up 2 hits to the first 2 batters he faced, 2 singles. And that one's hit deep to right field. Going back, Mondesi. He's on the track. He's at the wall. He makes the play leaning against the wall, and Anderson gets his first big league out.
Big sigh of relief right there.
It looked just like an out in the paper. We'll know that he drove the guy to the wall.
Well, he was ticketed to be the closer at Columbus, so certainly he has experience pitching in the 9th inning. A little different pitching in the 9th inning in the major leagues in Yankee Stadium, and this is
on opening day.
Yeah, just enough off the end of the bat to keep it in the ballpark.
Here's Michael Kadire, and he loses the bat and swings and misses.
I know Whitey Herzog loved when new players came up. He threw them right into the heat of battle where they're accustomed to playing, just see if they can perform. So a clean inning by Jason Anderson right here on opening day in the 9th inning it can do a lot for his confidence.
Joe likes to do that too.
Well, he pitched on the opener in Toronto,
Yep.
and that's when he gave up the 2
In the
hits.
9th inning.
Yep, in the 9th inning. But the Yankees had a bigger lead, of course. This is still a game at 7-3.
4 runs. They get 3 people on first.
It's still dangerous. You don't want it to get sweaty.
Sweaty?
Yeah, it would get sweaty.
Nobody gonna get sweaty in this weather.
The 1-1. Swing and miss. Update on Mariano Rivera. He threw off flat ground today for about 8 minutes. Tomorrow he's going to throw off a bullpen mound. He wants to get back by the end of the week. The Yankees are probably going to keep him a little bit longer as he rehabs from the groin pull. Strike 3 outside corner. Kadire down looking. So Jason Anderson has retired the first 2 twins he's faced here in the 9th. Yankees 1 out away from an opening day win.
You know, Joe, I asked Joe, I said, what is a couple of things that you really enjoy being as a manager? And I said, when you see a kid like this who earns his way onto the ball club in the pinstripes for the first time, he's young. He said, boy, when you call him in the office, he said, it just gives you the biggest thrill in the world to tell him, hey, kid, you did a job in spring training and you made this ball club. He said, I really love doing that.
A.J. Przinsky looks at a pitch low.
He said, I got some good news for you and I got some bad news for you. He said, first of all, you've made the club. Second of all, the bad news is you can't wear those jeans on a charter.
There's a fly ball to left field. Appropriate that Matsui will make the last out. He puts it away, and the Yankees win their home opener in the 100th anniversary season, 7-3. Andy Pettit with the win, and the big gold star goes to Hideki Matsui. His first hit at Yankee Stadium, a grand slam in the 5th inning, and the Yankees on a very cold Tuesday afternoon and then evening win the first game at the stadium this year, 7-3. Their record improves to 6-1 on the season.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't expect anything else here at Yankee Stadium for everything that this stadium has brought. The Yankee Stadium with Matsui, everybody looking for his first home run. He waited. Listen to this. He waited for opening day in New York in front of the greatest fans in the world to get his first home run as a New York Yankee.
Well, he certainly has a flair for the dramatic. When we come back, we'll break it down, then we'll wrap it up. Opening day at the stadium, you get chills, and it's not just from the cold. Yankees 7 and the Twins 3.